You are now listening to CTR Media Network.
What up, family? CTR Media Network. Yeah. Best in the biz. Yeah. Join the team. CTR is who we are, the media network, that's the best by far. Whether you listen at your home, at your job, in your car, come get the information that's needed above all, never lasting. Motivational podcasting, giving you the answers to the questions that you're asking. Serious talks and topics, how to come up and profit, how to better yourself, your health, and see if we...
The podcast on CTR Media Network.
That's me. I'm so happy to be here. Thanks to her, my podcast is doing great.
350 million, they tuning in. We in 50 different countries, we all can. And like-minded, find your purpose and your assignment. Come get your fix, your feel, your mental alignment. Get active and speak to the masses. Build your influence, all levels and all classes. Now you know you can monetize and grow. CTR Media Network, start the show. CTR Media Network. CTR Media Network. CTR Media Network. CTR Media Network. CTR is who we are. The media network, that's the best by far, you know. CTR Media Network. CTR Media Network.
CTR Media Network is now accepting new podcasters to join our growing network that's reaching 350 million global listeners. Have you heard? CTR Media Network offers podcast production, podcast training, distribution, and product placement. Book us for your next event or schedule an interview with CTR Media Network podcasters today. To learn more, go to ctrmedianetwork.com.
Our CTR Media Network sponsors.
A special thank you to our gold sponsor, Terry Coleman from Global Key Capital. Global Key Capital is a lender specializing in customized financial solutions. They pride themselves in being one of the industry's most reliable and proven lending groups. At Global Key Capital, their customers are their number one priority. They strive to provide...
A whole different level. Be a new author. Put them in the, put them in there. Co-author. Right, there we go. Put them in the works, put them in the business, everything. Yes. So where can people find your books?
Yeah, so I actually have a website. You can go to queenshinera.com, and the spelling is Queen, and then my first name is spelled CHANIERA.com. All my books are listed on there, so I'll be able to ship everything out to you. They're reasonable prices. You'll probably get it within 15 days, depending on shipping. And you can find me on Instagram if you want to follow me on Instagram under Queen Shinera. Podcasting wise, we do record every Thursday, 7 or 8. We just finished this season 5. We'll be going into season 6 in February, and we are transitioning to TV. Okay. So yes.
About making a move.
You can follow the podcast page, Uncommon 3 Women on Instagram. Facebook is just Uncommon Women.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for your time and your books. I will be buying a couple of these today for gifts. And I appreciate your, everything that you're doing for us as people in the community, and especially as women. Yes. So I'm very proud of you. I'm grateful that you're here for the Authors All-Star Conference. I've been trying to say this like 3 times. Right? Yeah, oh my gosh. But I'm so glad that you're here with us today, and I appreciate your time, and thank you so much.
Thank you for the opportunity.
This has been a great interview. I love you guys all, and take care. Talk to you guys soon. Ball City Star out.
Bye.
CTR Media Network is a new standard of podcasting and media that live streams 30 plus podcasters. We reach 350 million global listeners worldwide in over 50 countries across all major podcasting and social media platforms and have featured over 1,000 guests. If you would like to be a part of CTR Media Network, go to CTR Media Network.
The Vera Thomas Show. The Vera Thomas Show. The Vera Thomas Show. The Vera Thomas Show. Let's talk about it. 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 On the Vera Thomas Show. Let's talk about it. Yeah.
Hello, hello, hello. I am back. We are at the All-Star Authors Conference, and I am so excited. I have another author here, and her name is Ioka. I love that name. I love that name. Can you tell me a little bit about? No, she's going to tell us about her book and other things, but her name fascinates me. So I want to know about your name.
Yes. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for having me on the show. It's an honor and a privilege and a pleasure. My name is Ioka, and it's actually Cherokee, and it means one who brings happiness. And I talk about in the story how so long I was able to give happiness to everybody else, but didn't know how to give it to myself.
And you know, that is so important. So important to understand we seek happiness out there.
Yes.
You know, and we seek and want other people to make us happy when in actuality, we can make ourselves happy. Yes. We can do that. But anyway, she has a book, and I'm going to give her the mic and allow her to share a little bit about Ioka, her book, and what made her write this book.
Thank you. My name is Ioka once again, and my book is called Flourish, Replanting Seeds of Purpose. And for so long in my life, even though I come from a lineage, Vera, of my uncle was the first African-American mayor of Atlanta, Georgia, Maynard Jackson. And I come from history and lineage of trailblazers who impacted everything that you could think of. But I did not feel worthy of my calling and who I was. And that impacted me because of some childhood trauma at a young age. It impacted me as a wife, as a mom, in my business, my worth of who I was and the value that I brought to the marketplace, and especially impacted me and my happiness. So when I talk about flourishing, it means to bloom, to prosper, to grow. I realized that everything I touch flourished, people, opportunities, but I forgot to touch myself. So my marriage was desolate. My children were hurting. And not until I put my business down and saw that what I was really chasing was not as valuable of what was right there beside me. And when I put it down, I started to understand how hurt I was, my husband was, my children were, and this book was born. I didn't go looking for this book. It came out of a life of experience, of understanding.
That is amazing. And Maynard Jackson, I met him when I came to Atlanta a long time ago. Yes. I was in my early 20s and came to a conference, and I never forgot him. He left such an impression upon me as a young person. Never forgot him. So I am honored to be interviewing. And you were I'm his niece. His niece. Oh my God, I'm honored. Okay. All right. Back to a couple of things that you said. And one of the things being that I work with parents and their kids, let me take this out of my mouth, that I work with parents and their kids, you are an example of when parents are bringing in their own unresolved issues and not addressing them, it impacts on everything, the marriage, the children, the business. And so your book is a testament to what happens when we don't acknowledge our own hurts and our own pain and want to work at those things. And so kudos to you.
Thank you
for recognizing, because awareness precedes change. You cannot change what you are not willing to acknowledge. And so Ioka, she acknowledged and recognized that her unresolved issues were impacting on every other area of her life. So I want you to take a few minutes and just talk about your process.
Yes. Well, first I had to realize that if I did not stop to ask this simple question, but how many times do we know simple is never simple, right? I had to ask myself, why am I the way that I am? And when I took a moment to evaluate who I was and why I was, I had to learn how to, what I love, an acronym that the Father gave me is called BOSS UP. I had to believe, own, see, and seize my unique potential. So I had to understand where was my beliefs, my core beliefs, and who I was and what I needed to change. I had to own everything I brought to the table, the good, the bad, and the ugly to my journey. I had to see it from a different perspective, and then I had to go and seize it. I had to take action. But first, it started with recognizing and accepting what had happened to me. I had to uproot these negative, faulty core beliefs that were planted so now I could change my next generation.
Yes. And, having grown up with some childhood trauma myself, I understand that it is a process. Yes. And it's not only a process where you start it and then it's over. It's daily. It's consistent. Yes. And it's always happening. Even now, I'm sure that you're still absolutely growing and becoming all that God intended you to be.
That right there is what we're gonna throw over in a second. We about to flip this table. Listen, I just turned 44. Oh, but thank you. But it wasn't until 35 that I recognized what my calling was. And it wasn't within the last 2 years that I started to understand. And the process of healing started at 35. So it was a journey from 35, almost 10 years of who am I? Understanding my self-worth, loving myself the way that he sees me, the way that he loves me on that level. I didn't know how much I distrusted him because the roots ran so deep. And unless you get those roots and you get them up, you're dealing with the leaves. You're dealing with the surface. But we have to take that modified seeds, them GMOs that's been modified because of these tainted seeds. And we have to uproot it and we have to change it. And it's a daily process because we're not complete until we're called home. Until then, there is always something he is revealing to us to work on.
Absolutely. That is so true. And when you recognize that you are fearfully and wonderfully made, and when you recognize that you were designed with purpose, he said, I knew you before you were born.
Yes, in your mother's womb.
In your mother's womb. And you're so pretty. You're a beautiful, beautiful lady. And you're a baby. Let me tell you, you're a baby. Okay, I'm old enough to be your mother. For real. Anyway.
But for so long, I didn't feel beautiful. Because I realized so many times we say boss, right? It comes with this presence. It's this outside thing. But I had to learn to understand that boss is an inside job. When you understand who you truly are on the inside, then it's manifested on the outside. But it took a long time to get to say that I'm beautiful and understand and know that for myself. Yes. That I'm a boss, I'm a great mom, a phenomenal. It took a long time for me to see myself through my creator's eyes because it was so full of dirt and taint and what other people had planted and other lies that I accepted as my truth.
other lies that you accepted as your truth. And I was the same way. I was the same way until I recognized Eleanor Roosevelt had a quote. And that quote is, no one can make you feel inferior without your permission. When I understood that,
Yes.
then I also understood it didn't matter what other people said about me. It didn't matter how other people treated me. It didn't matter. What mattered was how I saw myself, what I said to myself.
Yes.
And you recognize that as well.
Yes.
And you know, we ran out of time. But Ioka is going to be coming onto my show for a full hour. So I'm excited. We'll be talking about her book. And again, we are at the Authors All-Star Conference in Atlanta. And she is one of the authors here. You can get her book at IamIoka.com. IamIoka.com. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And listen, God bless you all. And we'll be back with another interview really soon. Have a great afternoon.
The Vera Thomas Show. The Vera Thomas Show. The Vera Thomas Show. The Vera Thomas Show. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Okay. And then also
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. On the Vera Thomas Show. Let's talk about it.
All right. Well, somebody commented, so hey,
even though it's live.
Good evening, and welcome to Series 2 of Relationships and Christian Dating. I am Constance Woolard, the host of the Speak Easy podcast, and tonight we have a phenomenal group of panelists, some married couples, spiritual partners. Yes, spiritual partners in Christ. We have some relationship strategists. We have another pastor that's going to be joining us later on tonight, and we're all here to have a candid discussion on relationships and Christian dating. And so my first couple is called the Purpose Couple, and they are Elder Brown and Prophetess Alicia Brown of South Carolina. So good evening. How are you?
Thank you. Good evening.
Well, good evening. Good evening.
I want to say thank you, first of all, for agreeing to participate in this discussion. I thank you so much. And just kind of tell the listening audience who you are.
Well, ladies first.
Okay. Well, I am Prophetess Alicia Brown. We together, we are the Purpose Couple. We are the Browns, known as the Purpose Couple. Together as a couple, we work with one another in ministry and also in holistic health as well. We do a lot of things so far as in balancing the mind, body, and spirit, and also in addition to speaking about the purpose of kingdom marriage as well.
Yes. We have a 501c3 nonprofit. We run together. The Carla Rose Foundation is the name of the organization. And we raise money for people that have cancer that are going the alternative holistic route for treatment. A lot of that's not covered by insurance. So we raise money to help with the cost of that, to offset some of the costs. And the foundation is in honor of my mother and our first wife that passed. Carla was my first wife's middle name. Rose was my mother's middle name. So we honor their memory with
great.
With this foundation.
You know, I'm glad you brought that up because next month is Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
That's correct.
And so the podcast next month, we are going to be featuring breast cancer and doing a lot of things to discuss breast cancer awareness. And so I've got several experts lined up. And that's one of the common themes I'm hearing is resources. People are not aware of the resources available. So I thank you for what you're doing.
Absolutely. Thank you
so much. Thank you. Our next couple are the Ashleys of Dallas, Texas. And so good evening. How are you?
We're doing good.
Doing good. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having us.
And so just tell the audience who you are.
Well, I am Geneva D. Ashley. This is my husband, Marcus Ashley. And we're just, well, most people know us as, affectionately, they call us the A-Team, just because our last name starts with the letter A. But we live here in the Dallas Metroplex region. We do ministry together. We have a ministry called Word Reflections Ministries. It's brand spanking new. God is literally lifting us off the ground with it. So we're working on that. We also, I myself am a published author. Today is my Amazon best-selling day. So I am pushing for sales of that book. I'm a domestic violence advocate as well as a master coach, virtual pastor, and so, and I work hand in hand with every other thing that my husband and I do together. So
okay, so just spiritual partners in crime.
Yes.
I would say spiritual partners in Christ. How about that?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a better term. That's a better term.
Marcus Ashley here. My biggest role really is just keeping up with this lady right here for all the different things that she sets out to do. I'm more of a silent partner, but I'm really a huge supporter from behind the scenes. I'm not out in the forefront. It's not really my thing, but from behind the scenes, I'm doing heavy lifting with helping get things done, and she goes out and executes as far as book projects, outreach of different kinds, especially in the spiritual sense. Anything that it has to do with the ministry work. I'm one of her biggest supporters from behind the scenes. So a rare appearance for me, and looking forward to engaging with you all.
Okay, well, thank you so much for joining us. And so next I have Anna Pap. Good evening, Anna. How are you?
Good evening, Constance. Thank you so much for having me on today's show and allowing me to share with those beautiful couples that we have here today.
Yes. So tell the audience who you are.
I am a relationship coach, and I started this career of coaching 9 years ago. And initially, I was working with married couples facing challenges in their relationship, but about almost 6 years ago, I really felt calling to work more closely with married women who are committed to their relationship, but whose husbands do not see an issue in the marriage, or they are not ready to get help from a professional. So I felt a need for just filling this space and giving these women some hope and some tools to help them kind of redesign that marriage and be that loving and gentle force that bring changes to their relationship.
Okay, well, thank you so much for joining us in the discussion this evening. And so I have Daniel J. Williams of Columbia, South Carolina. Good evening, Daniel. How are you?
Fantastic. How are you? How's everyone?
Great. Thank you for joining us today.
It's a pleasure to be here. I'm glad that you asked me to join this panel. Sounds like it's going to be an interesting panel discussion.
Yes. I'm looking forward to the discussion this evening. So tell the audience who you are.
Well, like I said, my name is Daniel J. Williams. I'm here in Columbia, South Carolina. I'm a mindset coach. I'd say that I'm really I like to use the term of being like a intercessor and a communicator. And really, I like to work with everyone, seeing everybody be lifted, but more specifically with men, just because men we have a tendency to kind of feel pushed to the side, that we have a lot to carry and a lot to do, but we don't like to express what bothers us or what we're really feeling. So that kind of hinders relations. I mean, this goes in relationships. It kind of hinders our being able to really contribute to the relationship in the best way forward for it to go. So once men kind of get back to knowing themselves and feeling comfortable with themselves, they can actually really bring the best part of the relationship together.
Okay, thank you. And so I'm going to put this question out on the table. It's for our two married couples. With Daniel, you're married as well. Anna, I'm not sure if you have a spouse or not.
Yeah, look at this. I didn't share that. This is my most important job. Yes, I am a wife and a mother of two super sweet kids.
Okay. And so what I want you to do is, the first question I have on the table: how did you meet your partner, and what place and space were you in when the two of you met? And so I'm going to start with the Ashleys.
Okay, I'll take the lead on this question. We actually were living in California when we met. We're originally from California, and we only recently, in the past 4 years, transitioned here to Texas. But we both were commuting into work, and we were catching what's called the BART train, which is like very rapid transit for San Francisco Bay Area into San Francisco to go to work. And we both worked in the city. We crossed paths a couple times. We didn't really speak or anything. We just kind of exchanged looks, and I nodded at her just to say more of a gesture of good morning. But a couple of times that happened, we got on the train, and she tried to sit everywhere but next to me. So she was actually reading a book by T.D. Jakes, God's Leading Lady. And rather than taking any typical approach to having a first conversation with her. What I did was instead, by making that observation about the book she was reading, I went and researched the book to understand where she might be located and why she might be reading that book in particular. And so once I got an understanding of that, I said, okay, well, in my mind, I said, clearly she's got a relationship with the Lord. So that's a good thing. I just needed God to kind of do the rest because she was going to dodge me every chance she got. So when we got on the train one day, she was standing in the middle of the aisle and she was turning in circles looking for every seat to sit in except for next to me. And I just kind of looked out the window and I looked at the seat next to me and I said, I wish she would sit next to me. I mean, it's not like I bite her or anything. So this is what I said to myself. And then she came and sat down, but she hurried up and pulled that book out and opened it back up and almost put her face in it. So that's really how that sequence of events went. And then we exchanged numbers by the end of that ride. We talked about the book. And so I got an even better sense of kind of what was her moral compass and where she was located when we crossed paths. And we haven't really looked back since then. We went on a few dinner dates and consecutive, and we've been going ever since. So there it is.
Wow.
From my perspective.
Okay, amazing story.
I tried to go to every other seat because it was amazing, and that's how you know God was in it, because every seat I was stepped to, literally, I remember very distinctly, it was like 5 different seats. So every time I would go to sit there, somebody else would sit in the seat. So it ended up making me turn around and look back over at that seat, which was the only vacant seat available, and it was next to him.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay. Wow. Definitely some intervention there, some divine intervention. Yeah. Definitely. Okay. But I got to give it to you, Marcus. You had your game on and you wouldn't research the book and found out about it.
I didn't want to be typical. I didn't want to be different because, there's a lot of ways that could have went, so I just wanted to meet her where she was.
Okay. And it worked. It worked. Yes, indeed. Checkmate. Okay. So the Browns, tell the audience how the two of you met and the place and space you were in when you met.
All right. Well, I'm going to let her start this.
What's with the ladies first stuff tonight?
He started first, so
okay,
we're going to go the opposite way this time.
Okay.
Well, how we met, we actually met as business partners. And the way that happened was in 2015, the Lord gave me a vision to start up a nonprofit called Empower Me. And at the time I was a single mom and I was just like, had no idea how to do anything. And the Lord kind of guided me through. And he was like, well, you don't have a 501c3, so you need to look into getting a fiscal sponsor. And I'm like, what is that? So when I did, in the state of South Carolina, at the time I was living in Sumter, South Carolina. In the state of South Carolina, he was the only fiscal sponsor in the state of South Carolina. And my first instinct was like, it's a male, Lord. I don't want to do that. He got to be already married in order for me to proceed. Like, I don't want to do that. Because at that time, my headspace was, I was done with love. I had already been married twice. I was done with marriage. Didn't want nothing to do with it. I ain't want nothing to do with the male, period. Just me, my children. God was my husband. I was good. So God was like, but you need a fiscal sponsor. And unfortunately, this is the only one. So you have no choice but to reach out. So I did contact him. And I said, okay, Lord, well, if this is you, he's going to answer and I'm going to get this fiscal sponsor. And he did not answer. And I said, okay, Lord, so this is not what I'm supposed to do. As fast as I said that, he called me back. And I was like, oh, my goodness. So I answered and time went on where we were supposed to meet up. He was living in Spartanburg, South Carolina, which is where we reside together now. And he drove down to Sumter and met me at Applebee's because I was like, we're going to meet in an open space. So we met at Applebee's. He came with the contract. I came with all of my things. And we sat down at the table and we prayed. That was that first, like, I was like, wait, he want to pray before we eat? Wait a minute. So he know God. But I was just like, whatever. I done been there, done that. So thereafter, we sat down, we ate. I signed the contract. And after signing the contract, we parted ways. I was excited, ready to start fundraisers and things like that so I can get my own 501c3. As time went on, I would say about a month of me being in the contract, the Lord released the funds for me to get it. So now I no longer need his services. However, by that time, we had then had so many conversations spiritually. He would pour into me, I would pour into him. We had them night talks and things of that nature. So it was like, he cool as a friend.
She forget about the game part.
Oh, we was at the
We was
restaurant.
at the restaurant.
Yeah.
And she told me she had children. So I said, well, I think it was a weekend coming.
Mm-hmm.
So I offered to buy her kids food for the weekend from the restaurant so she wouldn't have to cook. So that was my game, bro.
And
you had a better one, but I had to take that opportunity, and that kind of broke the ice. I would say that broke the ice because that was just something trying to be considerate, not necessarily knowing if it was going to work or do anything, but it did break a little bit of the ice.
It did. And for me, I did call my mom, and I was like, Ma, I said, I think this guy just tried to hit on me. I said, because he just bought me and my children, and I have 3. And I'm like, for the whole weekend, that's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I'm like, that's, and I'm like, he just bought us food for the whole weekend where I don't have to cook. And I was like, I think he tried to hit on me. And I was just like, well, it's not about to happen. And I could tell that he was older than me. And I was like, this guy is crazy. And I was like, I don't even know why he did that. So, it took some time. It really did.
Yeah, she's modest. She was super prepared at that meeting, very organized to the point where I was like, well, you really don't need my services. The only thing you were lacking was the actual 501c3. But she had everything business-wise she had on cap. So it was a real nice lunch. It was a real nice meeting. Getting to know her and her organization and how organized she was and how prepared she was, that spoke to me. At a time in my life where I had lost my first wife, it had been some years, like 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
So not really doing any dating, but the conversation we were having on the phone about business and then spiritually, it made it even more special when we met that day.
Wow. And so you two have been together for how long now?
It'll be 5 years in December.
Oh, wow. Okay, great. And so now, Daniel J. Williams, walk us through when you met your partner and what was going on.
Man, it's going to seem funny. I actually met her in church. We were attending the same church, but we probably only said 12 words to each other in like a matter of a year and a half until there was like there was a revival one night and the prophetess she was going through, and she came over to me and she just kept saying faithful over and over and over. And later she told her that her husband was in here. And we were looking around, there wasn't a lot of people in there. So it was like the choices were very slim on who we could have been matched up with. So I was doing like on the Saturdays, I did a fitness program for the members. And she was, she came through and I took them through a real thorough fitness regimen. And she was so sore. And we had a conversation, we DM and then we talked, and she was talking about how sore she was and so on. And we went out to have a lunch. We just kept conversations going. And she was divorced. I was divorced, and our stories were like the opposite of each other. Because in my first marriage, I was terrible. I wasn't even a husband, and she got the other side of it. So, you know, I and in our talking in the beginning, told her all of the things that I did and what I was like and whatnot, and how Lord, you know, as I recommitted to the Lord, how like I said that, you know what, I don't even want to bother with a relationship. I don't want to date or anything unless you actually bringing me a wife. But I didn't really believe he would allow me to have that again. And she was like kind of praying along the same thing. We were praying for the same type of stuff. And we've been married for a year now. We met, that was like 3 years ago. We've been married a year now, but it seems like we've been together for so long.
Wow. Wow. Amazing. Amazing. And so, Anna, tell us about you and your spouse.
You know, I feel a lot of resistance sharing this after listening to these inspirational stories, because the way we met, I would say, is not very typical for Christian people to meet. So bear with me. I guess that just simply means that our Lord does not discriminate against places like bars and clubs, because this is exactly where I met my husband. So it was, oh my goodness, we are married for 17 years. So it was about 20 years ago when I went actually to the bar only because my roommate asked me to be her designated driver. She was celebrating a nice work promotion and asked me if I can go there to drive the place. And, you know, I went there to kind of keep her company. And meanwhile, I've noticed my present husband with some lady sitting over there as well. And then it happened that on the way back from the restroom, this lady who was with my husband approached me, and we started a small talk. Turns out that this is his sister. And my husband back then did not have the courage to approach me. So she started that little conversation and he joined us. And, you know, he was such a gentleman. Like, really, I would say, wow, this is surprising for a place like this to meet someone so kind and so polite, just such a true gentleman, that we just have a very good conversation, the three of us, and then my you know, girlfriend joined us too, the four of us. That at the end of this evening, he asked me for my phone number, and I did agree to give him my phone number. And then he called back, and, you know, and I told him, obviously, yes, I'm in Texas, but that accent is clearly not Texan. So I am originally from Poland. And, you know, I told him about my country of origin. And for our first date, we went to dinner and he was so prepared. This just really made me, I think, fell in love with him, like that first date, because, you know, originally he really wasn't my type, but he was just such a kind man that I thought it's just nice person to have in your life. But then for this first date, before that date, he told me that later he went to Barnes and Nobles and researched everything about Poland. He knew so much about our culture, our customs, geography, politics, that I felt so impressed. And again, he just impressed me with his, you know, like behavior and way of being, that after that evening, I remember calling that roommate who I drove to that bar the night we met, telling her, oh my gosh, I really like that guy. So yeah, that's our story.
So we're talking about dating. What guidance or advice do you have for young people, middle-aged people, older single people who are seeking to date or who are currently dating right now? What advice or guidance do you have for them? And I will start with the Browns.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So I'm handed over to him now.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
that's what I'm his turn
this
now.
time. So it's for the ladies
You know,
first.
we were distracted.
The gentleman, what advice would you give?
What advice? well. A lot of it is cliche, like be yourself and be open, be transparent. But I guess you have to definitely, you got to find a way to open the line of communication. Listen as well as speak. Don't try to dominate the conversation, and because she's going to want to know just as much as you want to know. So be willing to listen and be willing to be open and honest.
Okay. Thank you so much. And the Ashleys, what guidance or advice do you have to offer to people who are dating right now?
People that are dating right now. Well, when I think back, for me, I'm a little, believe it or not, a little reserved, shy. I don't really, as a woman, I think just believing that God will do it, being confident in who you are. I have this quote that I always say, it's my own quote, which is, confidence is quiet, insecurities are loud. One thing that I've learned when I was, in my single state, just focusing on God and really loving him and just letting him be who he is in my life. And I was so busy and focused on doing what he wanted me to do. I even talked to him about the type of man that I wanted. So I literally specifically had a very specific list down to the height of my husband, complexion, type of job. Yes, he had to have a job. Not just a job, but a career. Yes. It was important to me. And so really dating a lot, I didn't do. I wasn't putting myself out there, even though my family would say, Geneva, you got to be seen if you expect to be found. So I would find myself just, maybe dating myself. That's what I did. I started dating me a lot. And when I was out, then I was seen. And if it was, the right one, then he would have the boldness and the courage to, approach me. And if he didn't, he would find a way. He would find a way to. So I say to anyone that's in waiting right now, it may seem like it's taken a long time, but I would rather wait on the right one than to give the right thing to the wrong one. So my advice would be, give God first seat in your life, and everything else will fall into place. I know some girlfriends of mine, they kind of go on the dating apps and stuff like that, but and no knock on that, but I feel like that's kind of like trying to help God out. And it might be somebody on the dating app that might be also seeking, but if that's the way that you come together, ultimately God is going to be the one that brings you together anyway. So that was what I would say from a woman's perspective. What would you say, Mr. Ashley?
Well, I could only speak from my own journey. I can't really say for everyone else, but looking back on the way that we kind of came together, it was being patient and not really looking for anything in particular, not even really looking, just kind of like, kind of as you say, staying to yourself and, just developing in your own relationship with God and, whatever endeavors you're setting out to do, just really being focused on, your own personal goals. And then just kind of waiting on God to put someone in your path that you find commonality with, because that's super important. A lot of times we like what we see, but the question is that, are we compatible? And the other question is, do we have similar beliefs? Do we look at things the same? Those are all important questions. There's so many things that we've talked about in private where it's like, man, it would have been like nice if someone had told us that before we got on this path, but there's no manual or anything out there like that really prepare you for a journey such as, pursuing a relationship, especially marriage, with someone. Those are kind of things those are hidden gems that you uncover along the way while you're on that journey. And one thing that we've learned to this date is with every passing year, level of communication. Communication is huge. It's one of those things that you don't realize it in the beginning, but as you get further and further up the road and get some years behind you in marriage, you learn that there are new depths all the time, even in the ways that you communicate. You thought you were communicating on a deep level before, only to find out that you can go deeper than that. And so that's one of the things that has kind of like revealed itself over time. So those are things that you don't necessarily, understand in your younger years of dating phases and things. And those can be some shallow experiences, if we're all being honest. Those can be some very shallow experiences. But once you get married, then you start unearthing some things that you didn't know were even there. So that's me speaking in hindsight, looking back from when I was younger up to now, just kind of sharing some of the things that have been revealed along the way.
Okay, wow, thank you. Last week we had a similar discussion. Communication was one of the things we talked about. Making sure that both people involved are on the same page, because the female may be feeling one way, the male may feel a totally different way. And then that's when the miscommunication begins and the breakdown in the relationship. So it's important that both parties are on the same page and that communication is taking place. Effective communication, effective listening. And so welcome, relationship strategist Siobhan. How are you? Siobhan, can you hear us?
Can now. It cut out for a second.
Okay. Hi. So kind of tell the listening audience who you are.
Okay. My name is Siobhan, the relationship strategist. And so I empower Christian couples in committed relationships to strengthen their partnership and eliminate unhealthy behaviors through effective communication. Also an author and a speaker. And yeah, that's basically it.
Well, thank you for joining in the discussion tonight. We have Pastor Robert Cockfield of San Antonio, Texas. Pastor Cockfield, how are you?
Doing great.
Okay, kind of tell the audience who you are.
My name is Dr. Robert Cockfield, and I'm a community activist, a pastor. Just been doing this stuff for a long time as far as loving God and people, just community work. And I have 4 beautiful children, and just currently am just processing a divorce after 41 years.
Okay, thank you so much. So I'm sure you have a lot to share. Looking
Sure
back
do.
in time, a lot
Yes,
to share.
ma'am.
Thank you so much for joining us. And Tracy Carr, how are you?
I'm great. How's everyone doing?
Doing great. Glad to have you to join us. Tell the listening audience who you are.
My name is Tracy Carr. I am a entrepreneur. I am a woman of God, a woman of faith, and I believe that when it comes to relationships, I believe that God has called me to help people only because of my story of being divorced and dealing with matters of the heart. So that's who I am.
Okay, well, welcome, Tracy, and thank you so much for agreeing to engage in this discussion tonight. And so we've been talking about some recommendations for dating couples or people who are seeking to date. And we talked about understanding and communication. Respect is also important as well. But I want to ask for my 2 married couples, what is the glue? All my married couples, what is the glue that held you together? And I'll start with the Browns. And Elder Brown, it's your turn this time. Don't look at Alicia.
I started the last one. Communication is our glue, and Jesus is our glue, because we stay connected that way. We constantly communicate with each other, praying together, getting the kids involved in prayer, just staying connected spiritually. That seems to be it. That's our glue. Getting up, praying in the morning, that opens up a lot. And that leads to our communication all day sometimes, in the car, with the children. After the children go to sleep, we're constantly in the word. And we use the word to get at each other. So
Yeah.
all the time.
We definitely do.
And I think for us too, the glue for us, I would say also is we both came to a realization that we weren't each other's preference, but we were each other's purpose.
Okay.
And in doing so, it was like we both made up in our mind which would we rather have. Do we want preference or do we want purpose? And we both just thought about it. Each time that we've chosen preference, how far has it gotten us? And it got us nowhere. But when we both made the decision that, you know what, I'm going to choose purpose, that's what keeps us in sync as well, because not only do we speak each other's love language, but we also speak the language of each other's purpose. So that's what keeps us where he's speaking life over me and I'm speaking life over him, because we understand each other's purpose language and also our love language. So like we have a book coming out that we're writing together called Kingdom Marriage and Its Purpose, Pillow Talk. And it's pretty much teaching the principles of pillow talk. Pillow talk ain't sexual. It doesn't mean it has to be in the bed with some actual pillows. It's teaching communication, and pillow talk can happen anywhere. Like you said, when we're driving in the car, we're having pillow talk. When we're at home, we're in the kitchen cooking dinner for the children, we're having pillow talk. And that's just me speaking what God revelation that I received today through my day, and him speaking his revelation. And we come together and bring our revelations together, which makes like our relationship so much more intimate, and it continues to add fuel to our fire. So although we're about to be out of newlyweds, we still feel like we just got married yesterday.
All right, now come on with it. Come on with it. And so David J. Williams, tell me about your glue.
Friendship. I'd say it would be friendship, and of course communication, because in that friendship, we have in that communication, it's a mutual thing. We're both headed in the same direction. When we were first, before we got married, we had our individual thing, but they seemed to line up and be going in the same direction, which really was an indication that it was from God and it was meant to be. But just the fact of having a friendship that we just got along so well, it seemed as if we knew each other for years. And even though it was just a short period of time, that just helps everything else kind of fall into place, because with the friendship, it's a mutual understanding and respect for each other, and an honor and a truthfulness in there. So I'd say the glue for us is a good friendship. We have a great friendship, and our communication is great, because we did all the hard questions at the very beginning. So that way you don't come up with that, well, I didn't know you had that kind of habit later down the line. So the hard questions at the beginning is a great thing too.
So transparency.
Right.
Transparency. Amen. Amen. So we're going to shift gears here a little bit. Pastor Cockfield, you were married for 41 years. You're recently going through a divorce or going through a divorce. Looking back at hindsight, what was the glue that was needed that was not present?
Well, I'm still in discussion. We still communicate with each other. We had a discussion just yesterday. We discussed that. Missteps. I like what just was said. Friendship is important. Mistake we made, we rushed into marriage. So we really didn't, there was no friendship. What we did, we dated just for a snippet. I had a child. I go into the military, come back after basic. We get married quick. And second thing, we put family and others before our own family. We allowed a lot of our family members to become first. We felt obligated to always help everybody else, and it stripped mine our own marriage. Next thing, communication is key. And here's my thing: what are you really communicating? We didn't deal with a lot of hard issues, a lot of hidden agendas, a lot of boxes that weren't open, and we were afraid to open them and really have those real discussions about who are we. And next, really, we got married young. I'm 17 going on 18. She's young, and we really didn't know ourselves. I mean, we went to church, we did all of that, but truly where God was with us as a unit or as one, we really didn't understand what that looked like. So now I advise couples. I heard the couples that's on there or individuals married. I advise you, yes, God has to be first. There shouldn't be no hidden agendas. Don't find yourself spreading yourself too thin, trying to be everything to everybody else, and then not allowing God to be first in your family. And that church piece is important. Where you attend church, where you're getting fed, I believe is critical and key. Here's my last thing. Don't be afraid to just be honest. I think, I learned in marriage, I'm looking back. People tend to tell you there's certain things your spouse don't need to know. I was told that quite a bit. I came from, I hung around a lot of old school folks, and they, I got bad advice. They said, oh, there's just certain things you don't need to know. Well, now looking back, that was a misnomer. That's wrong. Because it'll catch up with you. So that honesty is key, like right out the gate. I feel like if you're gonna be married to somebody and they're gonna be your life partner, that life partner speaks volume. That life, you can't speak life into each other if you're lying as a partner. And so that's my advice. I think marriage is a beautiful institution. I don't regret it. It's just now I'm on the back end, just trying to encourage people to stay together. And then the mistakes I made, help them to be life lessons for other people.
Thank you so much, Pastor Cockfield. So now for the ladies on the panel, what advice do you have? And Siobhan, I'm going to start with you. What advice do you have to provide to ladies who are dating or they're seeking a mate or what have you? What guidance do you have?
Okay, so a lot of people, and it might seem like someone else mentioned it's cliche, but everybody has said it, and it's the absolute truth. And I didn't notice when I was younger, but absolutely keeping God in the center of everything. And what that looks like is praying, even if you have to do it individually first, but building up that relationship with Christ first. And then let me say this as well. If you're at a point to where you feel like, okay, well, I've been doing this, I've been doing that, or my relationship is over here, still invite him in. So the Lord, and he'll come in and he'll fix it. So keep him the center. And if it's gone wrong, what he'll do is it might look as if your relationship is crumbling apart, but don't keep your eyes fixed on what you see, because he has to get in there and fix that foundation a lot of times. So just keep your eyes on the Lord. Hang around people who can give you some sound advice, some godly advice. Don't be afraid to do that. Seek out others. Sometimes you'll hear people say, oh, what goes on in your relationship stays in your relationship. Remember that the Lord puts people out there to actually help you. He's all about community and bringing people together. So don't be afraid if you need to go to someone else, such as a therapist, such as a strategist, such as somebody who can come and help you, just give you some insight and some pointers to help you. And if you are also another thing when you're dating, be honest with one another and forgive always. Okay. Forgive your partner on a regular basis and forgive yourself. And one more thing that I think I've grown in over the years is patience. Have patience and kindness towards one another. And remember that they are your teammate. They're not there as your enemy. You're not supposed to fight against them. You guys can do more together. So that's my advice right there to the ladies.
Thank you so much, Siobhan. Thank you so much. Anna.
I'm trying to think what to add to this beautiful advice. I think that maybe a few more things that I would add to it is know yourself first. So know your value, because it's very important to understand that the man you're dating comes from different backgrounds and might have, and we all are very different. There are going to be differences in our marriage, and compromise is a big thing. But what you don't want to compromise are your values. So look for a person who, like if you are Christian, it's probably not the best idea to date someone who doesn't follow the Lord, because it's just going to have cause so much internal conflict that this is very difficult to carry this relationship and really have a fruitful, beautiful relationship that will sustain for years. So know yourself first, know your value, and this is what should be on your list. What does this person that I envision as my lifelong partner believes in, and what are his values? Are we compatible in this sense? And then talking about differences, those differences will be there. And then we need to understand that it's okay. And we need to learn how to appreciate each other's differences and how to actually utilize them in your relationship, because we might be good in very different things. And, instead of letting those differences divide you, utilize them to make something beautiful together. And, when you're dating, definitely also understand the reason why you date. Why do you actually want a partner? Because, I think that a lot of women and men looks for a partner because they don't feel complete and they hope that this person will come and fix something in their life. So first, make sure you take care of yourself and you are happy with who you are and you absolutely feel complete. And the person that is right for you and the person who comes to your life is just something in addition, to who you are. This is not a person who's supposed to fulfill all your desires. Of course, part of a marriage is we all come with needs, and it's a beautiful thing that we can help each other fulfill those needs. But you need to be happy with yourself and your life first.
Thank you so much, Anna. Tracy.
Yes. Good evening. I'm going to say everything everyone said was, right on point. Of course, God first. But one of the things that I'm learning as you get to know that person, once again, like she said, understanding their values. But one of the things that I found was learning that person's love language. And when I say that love language, because what might work for you may not work for them. And as you come together and as you grow, there's going to be many sacrifices. And when I say sacrifices, sometimes it can't be just about you. It has to be about you and your partner. Especially if you have kids or if you're dating someone who has kids. I always say it's not just about you. How does that fulfill the purpose and intent of where people are trying to build together? Because now if you're trying to deal with kids, then it's a whole nother level. So as you deal with that, and then it's back to not sleeping in separate beds. Now, y'all might disagree with me on this, but sometimes I know that when you sleep in separate rooms or even like you're allowing the enemy to come in and still kill and destroy and slip right on in. The other thing is intimacy. Intimacy is not just about sex. It's learning to the value and knowing your partner and knowing the needs and the desires, the wants, those things that need to be fulfilled, whatever it is that may be in. Good morning, how are you? The prayer. Those different things. What is it that you like? What is it that you dislike? It's just the intimate. Sitting down, having discussions is very intimate. I may want to go on a date. I may want to go do some certain things. How do I fulfill that in getting to know you? What are your likes, dislikes? Even in our conversation, sometimes our voices may get loud. And I may not know that about your past. So as you grow, as you get older, and as you start to learn the value of one another, what is it that you will allow, will not allow, as you get to learn and grow into developing a relationship, and keep people out your business. As you do that, even though you have, like she said, wise counsel, you have counselors out there that you can go and talk to, But what may have worked for somebody else may not work for you. So it's back to that saying, not necessarily what goes on in your house stays in your house, but you have to realize that everybody are from different backgrounds. Everybody was raised differently. Some people have been hurt. Some people have not been healed or delivered from the past. And don't bring baggage that you had before, whether it was a bad relationship. Don't bring it into the relationship that you have now. But remember, God first in all that you do. And I yield.
Thank you, Tracy. And I'm going to add one more thing. You know, I know a lot of people who've never been married, never had children, but they are an expert on telling you how to raise your children and what to do in your marriage. And I would say, avoid those experts. Avoid those because they're not experts. They have no clue. They've never lived it. They've never experienced it. So how can they guide you? So again, like as Tracy said, be careful who you allow in your midst. Be careful. And so we're getting close to the end. And so what I want each of you is to think of a buzzword pertaining to relationships and dating that you want to leave with the listening audience. I'm going to give you a few seconds and I'm going to start with Pastor Cotfield.
Well, my buzzword is purpose. And I want to throw this out here, you know, you know your purpose. Don't date and get with people and don't know why you're on this planet, because it causes chaos, you know, because what ends up happening, you know, you don't know why you're here. You should already know. And then I'm gonna give you an example. I was a musician. That was my purpose. Okay, that's as a life as a musician. When I brought that to the table, okay, I travel a lot. There's a lot of things that go along with it. That's my point. And unfortunately, you know, I didn't understand it was my purpose, so I didn't express that. Well, then I get married, and then this person like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm a musician," and I love that. That's who I am. That should have been brought to the table right out the gate, because I think it's fair. It gives the individual an opportunity to either accept it or reject it. It's kind of bad after the fact. So my buzzword is purpose. Know yours. Know it before you get into that relationship and share it.
All right. You know, and when you said that, I had to chuckle. I'll never forget a few years ago, actually, when I was in San Antonio, I was dating someone that was Muslim. And, you know, he was sharing with me about women and their attire. And I said, well, let's get this straight right now before we go any further. I'm not converting. I believe what I believe. And I'm not wearing all that stuff on my head because I pay too much to get my hair fixed every week. I'm not doing that. And I'm not wearing those long dresses because, hey, I got some killer legs and I don't even show them. So if you can accept that, let's go ahead and get this on the table right now and solve this right now. So as you can see, I'm still on the hill by myself. So anyway, thank you so much, Pastor Cotfield, for sharing that. Siobhan.
I'd say my buzzword would be conversation. So a lot of times we don't have necessary but uncomfortable conversations with our partners, and it can lead to some things that you might have to untangle a little bit later on down the road. You know, I always say, you know, a relationship's never too far gone and you can't come out of it, but having conversations that are meaningful and that are not full of fear and control, so that way you'll get to know one another. So conversation is my buzzword to leave with you.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Daniel J. Williams.
I'm gonna go with asset is my buzzword, because if you're going into a relationship, then you're looking for it to be long term. So you're full, they're full. You want to be an asset to them just as well as they be an asset to you. So what you're building is going to be very strong and it's going to bring longevity. That should cover everything. Your communication, your love languages, all of that. When you're being an asset to her, she's being an asset to you. You're just adding to each other, and there's no weakness in between. I'm filling in her gaps, she's filling in my gaps, so there are no gaps. So I say asset is my buzzword.
Wow, I like that. Thank you so much, Daniel. Anna.
My buzzword for the married couple and people who are seriously dating is vision. I think that very often we get into relationship without actually having a vision for our future relationship or for our marriage. We believe that, love is enough and goodwill is enough, and our marriage just somehow magically will evolve and go in the right direction. But how do you know that you're going in the right direction if you don't have goals for your marriage, if you don't have value listed for your family? So I encourage everyone to create relationship statement, almost like a mission statement, right? We have one for our business. Why not for our marriage? Know what goals you want to accomplish with your spouse or your future spouse. Know what kind of wife or husband you want to be, what is important to you. This will help you stay on track.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Thank you. Tracy.
My word is legacy.
Okay.
And when I say legacy, I'm saying in the relationship, what are you leaving behind and what are you teaching people as far as moving forward, as far as the as everybody just said, from the vision to the mission to whatever it is that it may be, how can you all build an empire together and leave a legacy behind?
Oh, wow. That's powerful. I like that. I like that. Thank you so much, Tracy. The Ashleys.
Mine is forgiveness. And I say that because you will consistently need to utilize forgiveness. And I don't mean just like saying I'm sorry but actually executing with a heart of forgiveness, knowing that God is a forgiving God. And when we love each other and seek the Lord on a regular basis, daily, about forgiving one another, whether it be in, we like to call it heated fellowship rather than arguing. So if we have heated fellowship, or if it's something that is, considered a moral failure, whatever it might be, no matter how deep or how offensive it may have been, just knowing how to forgive one another and allowing your love to cover the multitude of fault that you have one to another, and just remember that God honors forgiveness. So that would be my buzzword.
Okay, I like that term about the heated. My parents called it the situation room. So when they said they had to go into this, not the situation, but the situation room, when they said that, I knew that was my cue to exit right. We're getting ready to have a show enough discussion. Thank you so much. The Browns.
It's consideration, but together it's purpose. So I'm gonna let her go purpose because when he took purpose, you see us throw our hands up.
So I'll speak on the purpose and then I'll pass it over to him to speak on the consideration as our buzzwords put together. So on the purpose, on the flip side, is understanding the purpose of the relationship, because every relationship is different. Even with going through life, any relationship that you're in, you must understand the purpose, whether it's long-term, whether it's short-term, whether it's you pouring into the person and you have something the person needs or the person has something you need. I believe when one understands the purpose of the relationship, they can treat the relationship as such and not come into the relationship with all these high hopes. Because I've seen, and through a few of I do coaching as well, and some that I have coached, I've seen it many times where they had high hopes. Oh, I think that's my husband. That's my husband. Okay, let's understand the purpose of the relationship. Yes, God may have very well put a male in your life, but what was the purpose? Why did he put that male in your life? And so that's why I say the buzzword is purpose. And then he says consideration. So I yield it to him.
I did say consideration because I find that to be very important, to be considerate of the person that you're with. That's in any relationship. always consider or be considered what the other person's going through, the other person's needs, and consider their feelings as you would consider your own.
Oh, wow. Okay, thank you so much. So thank each of you for this very good discussion tonight. I just want to give a shout out that the state of South Carolina is in the house, as well as the state of Texas is in the house. So I want to thank each of you for agreeing to engage in this discussion with me and the listening audience here at the Speak Easy podcast. 2 weeks from now, we'll meet again. We'll have a different discussion on relationships and Christian dating. I want to say good night to the listening audience. May God bless you today, tomorrow, and always. Have a good night.
Good night.
Night.
Good night.
Good night.
Baby, you give me ice and fire. You're giving me wind and rain. You're some kind of butterfly. Baby, you give me midnight. You whip up my appetite. Don't leave me here high and dry. Oh, well, I don't wanna jinx it, baby. Don't wanna overthink it, baby. It's just tweet your body and mine. Baby, you give me ice and fire. You're giving me wind and rain. You're some kind of butterfly. Baby, you give me midnight. You whip up my appetite. Don't leave me here high and dry. Oh, but I don't wanna jinx it, baby. Let's not get ahead of my time. Oh, but I don't wanna miss you, baby. So I stand up and speak just my mind. Oh. Baby, you give me ice and fire. You're chilling wind and rain. You're some kind of butterfly. Baby, you give me midnight. You whip up my appetite. Don't leave me here high and dry. Baby, you give me ice and fire. You're channeling wind and rain. You're some kind of butterfly. Baby, you give me midnight. You whip up my appetite. Don't leave me here high and dry. Oh.
and they see what other people have. And sometimes they get so upset because they're not moving forward like other people. So sometimes it gets in their spirit, and it's easy sometimes to feel jealous about things, especially when you're not doing the things or having the things in your life that you've been praying about or working to get. All right. So, it's an emotion. Remember, it's an emotion that comes over you. It can be good, bad, or indifferent. Sometimes we can be jealous, because we want something that maybe our friends have, and maybe you still love that friend and you don't hate them, but you get a little bit jealous. But you get home and you get yourself together. That's where I want you to go when you get like that. I don't want you to go the other direction where you begin to hate the person. All right. So, it's an emotion, and sometimes you're going to get there. We all have got there where we get a little jealous sometimes, but we don't want you to go the other direction where you just begin to hate on the person, and next thing you know, you do something crazy. All right. So it's an emotion, and sometimes when people have relationships and they fall in love with somebody, you have some people that feel like they own the person, and they want to control the person in some kind of way, and they even become sometimes to the point that they even threaten the person because they don't want the person to look at somebody else or speak to somebody else. So when you get in that toxic type of relationship, it should be time for you to walk away from that, because sometimes it can get even more dangerous. And we talked about that on last week. So, jealousy is an emotion. Yes, sometimes you're going to be jealous, but you need to have wisdom. And when you're dealing with the emotions of jealousy, it could be that you're just having a bad day. It could be that you're just tired of working so hard and you're not being able to get the things that you want and other things that people want. And you just let your mind just run rapid with all kind of negativity. So we want you to crush that negativity, let it go, take a deep breath, and just know that maybe that wasn't your season. That to get a new car like your friend got. Maybe it wasn't your season to get a new house like one of your other friends got. And all this kind of stuff is just coming at you at one time. But remember this, we talked about seasons a few episodes ago. Your season will come. You just gotta wait on it. All right. All right. So why do we get jealous? Another reason why we get jealous, research says that we get jealous because it's at a root cause. It's a root cause of jealousy that sometimes includes low self-esteem. And sometimes it can be caused because somebody just narcissistic, where they feel like they want to possess somebody, and they, want to do what they think they can do to them, and even treat them like they think they own the person. So we do, like you said, that's the negative. Like I talked about, that's the negative jealousy that you don't want to have in your spirit at all. Because once you open that Pandora box, the enemy will come in, he'll see what you're doing, and he'll make it worse. Sometimes jealousy comes from fear of abandonment. And then it also comes from some time of just being discouraged. And that could be some of the greatest motivators. But isn't it kind of silly to think you can tear someone down, and not even try to build them up? Now, isn't that crazy? But that's what we do sometimes. So we don't want to go there. Keep the positive, not the negative mindset when you're dealing with jealousy. Okay. Now that's what I have for part 2 of jealousy. Right now, I am so excited tonight for this episode because I have a special guest tonight. Her name is LaShonda Afford, and I want to talk to her tonight about her book and her story. So you don't want to miss this. It's phenomenal, and it's going to encourage you tonight. So go ahead and share. LaShonda Afford is CEO and founder of Unchained Counseling Services, as well as Unchained Behavior Agency. LaShonda is the author, visionary speaker, and a teacher who shares her personal experiences while guiding individuals on how to build their future with their own ideas and breaking free from false limiting beliefs. Please help me give a warm wisdom tip welcome to LaShonda. Hello, LaShonda.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Thankful. I am just so thankful you decided to join us today. How
Yes.
are you doing?
I am good. I am good. Today is going very well. I'm actually on vacation now, so.
Well, that's great. I know you're doing good. You're on vacation. Wow. I wish I could go. I need one real bad. pray for me.
Yes.
So we want to know just a little bit about you. I know I read a little bit of your bio, but it's so much more to you than a story. I was able to meet you last weekend in Atlanta, Georgia, at the All Star Conference, Authors Conference, and it was such a pleasure talking to you. The energy was right. I was getting so excited about some of the tips and things you was sharing with me that was in your book and even in the program that you have. And I just wanted you to come back here on live on Wisdom Tips so you can tell my audience what we can do to get our mind together. Because some of our minds, especially during Christmas time and holidays like this, it can be all messed up with stress, anxiety, fear of getting stuff that you need to get done. And so I'm just so excited that you're here tonight, to kind of help us out. So who are your greatest influence before you get started with your story? Who is your favorite influence that maybe perhaps sparked a little something in you before you started your company?
I have to say, Dr. Juanita Bynum was definitely a great influence when I started this, my transformation and journey.
Well, that's great. That's wonderful because she is a powerful woman of God. She's knowledgeable for the Word of God. I listen to her myself sometimes, and she's been around a long time. So when you see people like that, and that they have bounced back for several setbacks and then overwhelming things happening to them in their life, and the scriptures just totally changed them because they gave their life to the Lord. It's phenomenal to be able to listen and sit up under great speakers like that, and especially being a woman, because a lot of times we don't have a lot of examples of powerful women of God. We got a lot of men out there, but we do have a lot of powerful women. We just haven't heard their stories. And that's why we want to hear your story tonight. LaShawna, tell us your story and what was the inspiration for you starting your company?
Yeah. And so the listeners may be wondering, like, why did I say Dr. Bynum? And when I think about my life, so my mom and my dad was both murdered when I was younger. And so the way I was raised in this drug-infested environment that, I basically was taught to get it however you can get it, right? And I remember thinking that I didn't want to be like the people that I was around, right? Like, I love my family. We were close, knit family, but I knew I didn't want to do some of the things. But unfortunately, I didn't have a role model to follow as it relates to what I actually wanted to do. I knew what I didn't want to do, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. And so as I'm going through life, I began to make some of the same, choices, and some of the choices landed me in prison in a different country. And so I was incarcerated in Trinidad from 1999 to 2002 and got transferred back to America through our treaty transfer. But it was in that prison experience that actually brought about the change, right? And so the title of my company is You Change. And in that change, I pull out the word CAN, which really means you can change, right? Because of the way my life was built, I didn't think change was possible, right? I thought I was handed a bad deal, right? A bad debt or a bad hand, and that I was gonna lose with it, right? But then once I got in, I was incarcerated. That's where my change, took place, because while I was incarcerated, I was forced to come face to face with who I wanted to be and who I had become. And so that's the inspiration behind You Change, or You Can Change LLC.
That's a powerful testimony. So tell me again, you said you came to yourself. What made you come to yourself? I know you were in prison for quite a long time, but you said one day something just came to you. What was that experience like?
Yeah. So I remember being in the hole. So if you're not familiar with, what happened,
please explain to the audience what that is.
So the hole is another kind of confinement, right, away from the population. And so I got in a fight with one of the officers, and I'm pregnant. I got incarcerated when I was 6 weeks pregnant. And
Stop right there. Before you, I know I'm cutting you off, but wait a minute. Ooh, this is a lot to hold on to right here. What you're telling me. You was also pregnant. That had to be, oh my God, I can't even imagine what you're feeling, the feelings you were feeling and the things that you were going through in that environment, because they said in those type of environments overseas, it's not a pretty sight and it's not a lot of care for the inmates. Is that true?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So you were pregnant. Go ahead, pick it up.
And they didn't like Americans, right?
They didn't like Americans.
For whatever reason, right? So here I am, already locked up away from my 2 boys at home, and I'm pregnant, right? And so when you think about like the mindset, I was trying to figure out what I could do, to miscarry, to do something, because they wasn't giving me any prenatal care. I really wasn't even expecting it. And so it was a particular officer that was provoking me. She just kept doing, silly stuff. Like she would lock me outside the cell, just different things. So one morning I end up, doing something to her to cause the fight or whatever. And I end up being in the hole.
Wow.
So I'm in the hole, isolated from the regular population. And it was that moment where I began to pray, because I always believed in God, always, just believed God existed just because of the heavens and the earth. And so, but I wasn't raised in church. And so here I am in this, third world country, and I'm there and I'm face to face, right, with who I have become versus who I wanted to be.
Ooh, stop right there. Stop right there.
Okay.
Who I had become and who I wanted to be. Did y'all hear that, audience? Who are you right now?
Yes.
Who do you want to be and who you are now? You can make that change. You don't have to be jealous of anybody.
Absolutely.
You're fearfully and wonderfully made.
Yes.
That is powerful.
Yes.
Go ahead, LaShonda.
Absolutely. And so it was while I was, isolated from, the greater population, I was again forced to begin to go inward. And even when we think about that jealousy, right? Jealousy, although it's an internal thing, is sparked from external stuff, right? That we feel like external, whether it's people, places, things, owe us something, right? And so that's the one thing, once I realized who I am, right? Once I became or gained a better understanding of who I was, it changed how I seen other women. It changed how I seen, the world, right? It just created this complete change. And so you change, counseling and consulting is very fitting, because everything surrounds, go back to, no matter what it is. You know what I'm saying? It's like you can change your perspective. So I teach individuals using a cognitive behavioral model, right? Where I begin to help them see that we think events control our emotions. So we experience a breakup or, a bad boss or a loss of a loved one. Those are events. And I teach people that the events in life, we cannot change, right? We cannot change those events. But what people don't understand is it's another step that's between events and emotions. And that other steps is thoughts. So my thinking about the event is what controls my emotions, right? And so the same person, I can have a loved one who passed on, and my thinking can be, oh my God, life will never be the same. And although it won't, right? But I can have these catastrophic type of thoughts, and it will cause me to want to die with that individual or to not live. But if I shift my thinking and start thanking God for, the 5 years, the 20 years, the 50 years, that I've had with somebody, then my emotions will change. So right? This can be a hard thing, right? And some of my clients, they'll be like, I don't know. It's hard for the mind to grab that. But when I teach them and I tell them to just practice it, just to see, they'll come back and say, okay, I'm getting it. But I promise you, if we master that, we master our lives.
Well, I think what you said, one thing that to me started the whole thing far as knowing who you are. You said when you found out who you were, you no longer began to be jealous of people or places and things. Yes. And I think with the mindset, like you were saying, once you know who you are, you can go back and then them deep things, them dark things when you were young and when you were a teenager and things that happened to you or your life or your family, you can go back to those things then and pull them out and be able to get the freedom that you need, because now the key word was you knew yourself.
Yes.
Because when we don't know ourselves, we're trying to be everybody else. That's why the jealousy comes.
Absolutely.
We want that same outfit I see her guy. We want the same hairdo. We want the same car, the same home, the same outfits. Because we see somebody else, we're looking over here, but we're not looking within. And you talked about looking within. When we look within ourselves, we don't need those other things to validate us. But if you don't know who you are, that's when the jealousy, the ugly spirit of jealousy comes, and you begin to start, like they say, hating on people.
Absolutely.
You're mad at their beauty, you're mad at their looks, you're mad at their money, you're mad at their husband, their boyfriends, their children. You just begin to hate everything about the person because you want to be like that person, because you don't know who you are.
Absolutely.
Would you agree with that, LaShawn?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And just to add to that, once you understand who you are, you begin to understand or not even want what belongs to someone else. Right?
Say it again. Say it again.
Once you understand who you are,
yes,
you will begin to, not even want what belongs to someone else. Right? And so even when we think about this thing called, jealousy, it took me back to Cain and Abel. Right? So they both felt they were doing the right thing. They both gave of what, they had. But however, one became jealous because it was like, wait, as if someone was being picked over them.
Right.
But when you realize, like, wait, hold on, nobody can take my spot. Like, I don't even want to be in a position longer than I'm supposed to be in that position. Because at the end of the day, if you're somewhere that you're not supposed to be for too long, it's going to create drama.
It's going to create what now? Drama.
It's going to create drama.
Yes.
And so, but here's the thing. All of this came about as a result of my lived experience, right?
Say it again. Your lived experience.
My lived experience. Because when I got released, I was already like on the road, understanding that the meaning and the purpose of my life. And so me going to school and getting my, bachelor's in social work and then my master's in social work and doing it, all of that, that was the key to unlock some of the natural doors, right? But the anointing that's on my life to bring about or to assist with bringing about change didn't come from me going to school. That came from me not giving up when I was going through.
Tell it. You going to church now, right now. Tell it. All right.
Yes.
So when, this is a good point, because the next question I was going to ask you is, when did you realize that you were gifted and called to do what you're doing? And you basically just told us. Can you elaborate a little bit more?
Yeah, I realized it while I was still incarcerated, right? Because it was there that I had to make a covenant, right, with God in the aspect of knowing that I was going back to my environment. And I knew that I didn't want to go back to a lifestyle, right? Even though I was going back to the environment. And even before I got incarcerated, I used to always ask a question like, why the recidivism rate was so high.
Yes.
And I looked at it because people were going back to their same environment. But then when I had to experience it, I realized that, guess what? I can be in this environment, but the environment doesn't have to be in me. And so although I was staying with my grandmother at the time, my uncle, was on drugs, so nothing had changed, right? But at the end of the day, what changed was my internal desire. I no longer had a desire for quick fixes, quick money, quick nothing, and so it was a covenant that I made even before I got released.
That's awesome. That is awesome. That is an amazing, amazing story. So what was another defining moment in your life after you gave that covenant to the Lord? You knew where you was going, what you was going to do, what you were and who you was. When you went back to those environments, you had to stop and try to refocus of who you was and go back to where you were when you made that covenant with God. And so all of that, I know it wasn't easy. It had to be hard, because once you grow up in an environment, that's all you know. It's like a limited belief. It's just certain things that you used to doing or you've seen that has happened, and you grew up like that. You had no other choice but keep doing the same thing. But you broke that curse. You broke that generational curse. God had to put you somewhere not only in a prison, but in the hole, away from everybody.
Yes,
and when you
ma'am.
said that you were by yourself, you were secluded. And that's when you found God. I want to talk to someone right now. Sometimes that's where we need to be. We need to be secluded, away from everybody, away from the cell phones, away from friends, family. God sometimes will put you in a place that you don't have no other reason, no other way to do but sit up and listen to him. It could be on your deathbed. It could be on your sick bed. It could be in prison. But God will get your attention, and you don't want to go as far as LaShonda went. You don't want to go through what she went through, because some of y'all wouldn't be able to handle it. You probably wouldn't even came out alive. But God knew what was in her. So the Lord was speaking to me the other day she said, tell the people, don't play with me. So I'm telling somebody right now, don't play with God, because if you play with God, you're going to get in trouble. All right. So what was another defining moment? I know you got so much to tell us, you can't tell it all, but what was another defining moment that helped you move forward into your business and start your business? What was that defining moment that caused you to do something like that? When you made a decision?
Yeah. And so ironically, right, I began to, here I am, raised in a drug-infested environment. And so when I got released, I ended up working at a drug and alcohol facility. And so in working and doing that, because when I first started You Change, it was publishing. And so I actually published my first book, Behind Bars, A Chance to Change, as a result of that, right? So I talk about my prison experience, but I talk about how I was behind bars in my mind long before I was ever physically behind bars. And so that's where You Change started, but then it just evolved, right? And so, but I started it because I was coming back home. I was have a felony. And so I didn't want society and the blockages, right? The system, the way the system is set up, to cause me to feel as if I had no other choice but to go back to a lifestyle.
Right.
And so that's what caused me to, continue with the You Change, the publishing. And then once I got my independent license, I was able to transition it over to my private practice, and then now I have a behavioral health all under You Change counseling and consulting.
Well, I am so excited to meet you, LaShonda. You have really blessed me. You blessed me last weekend, and now you're blessing me again. And I even told her in Atlanta, for my listening audience, although I'm a counselor, been one for 25 years, I told her, I said, I need to go sit up under you. You need to tell me some things, because the stuff that she went through and how she came out on the other side, and the hundreds of people she's helping every day, it's just amazing. I was so excited to meet her, because that's what it's all about, helping each other. But right now, LaShonda, we're going to go to break. And to those of you in the audience, we're going to go to break. But when we come back, we're going to share some wisdom tips with you right after we finish this conversation with LaShonda, okay? So at this time, we're going to go ahead to our break. But before we go, I want to ask you again, if you would please share this broadcast so other people can hear it. It's some people out there that's hurting, that's going through some stuff, maybe like LaShonda and me have went through in our lives, and God helped us bounce back from setbacks. I know it's somebody out there that needs to hear this story. So please share and hit the notification button and like, and we'll be right back after this commercial.
Hello, everybody. I am Dr. Tina J. Ramsay, and I want to share with you about CTR Media Network. Have you heard? CTR Media Network is a new standard of podcasting with over 30 plus podcasters. We reach 350 million global listeners worldwide in over 50 plus countries across all major podcasting and social media platforms. We have featured over 1,000 guests. what we specialize in is helping business owners, entrepreneurs, coaches, and fellow podcasters expand their visibility on our platform. We're all about positioning with visibility, connections, and teaching you how to monetize what you do. Let me tell you something. If you're a business owner, we have sponsorships opportunities. We have commercial slots. We also have opportunities for you to be a featured guest on any of our shows. So what are you waiting for? CTR Media Network is who we are, and this is where you need to be. So go to ctrmedianetwork.com and click our store feature so that you can see which opportunity fits your life and your budget so that we can get started working with you today.
Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails. Where there are prophecies, they will cease. Where there are tongues, they will be stilled. Where there is knowledge, it will pass away. And now these three remain: faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love.
Welcome back to Wisdom Tips. If you're just joining us, we're discussing how to overcome the ugly spirit of jealousy with my special guest, LaShonda Alford, as well. She's telling us her story and some phenomenal things that she's been doing in her company. And so, LaShonda, now that you're back, we want to ask you to tell us a little bit about your books that you have.
Okay. So the first book, like I said, is Behind Bars, A Chance to Change. And that talks about how I was behind bars in my mind long before I was behind bars physically. My latest book, what they just showed on the screen, is Justice Wears a Dress. Now, I am really excited about that book. That's my fourth book. Let me tell you about the other two. The second book is The Power of Perception, Healing from the Inside Out. Dealing with some of those internal things so we can begin to see, the healing take place in our lives. And then the third book is Ladies Take Your Man Back. The man stands for mature, assertive nature. That book is really to help women who have been through breakups, divorce, and just having a hard time seeing themselves differently, right? And because a lot of times when we experience things, we begin to blame ourselves. I should have known better. It's my fault, those different things. So that book, Ladies Take Your Man Back, Mature, Assertive Nature, is the third book. But I'm especially proud of the fourth book, Justice Wears a Dress, The Power of a Woman's Voice. Really helping women understand, how we are better together, right? But we cannot be together if we don't deal with heal from some of the trauma that we've been through. But understanding that, wait, hold on, our voices matter. When you think about the Trayvon Martin, when you think about, some of our young men who've been killed at the hands of, police, right? And I'm just sharing this because this is really what inspired it. When I looked at the justice system and how it's different, right? For women, men, Black women, white women, just how it's different. And really being able to look at how do we begin to own our voice? And it first starts with us healing within, So yeah, Justice Wears a Dress, The Power of the Woman's Voice.
Did y'all get that? Justice Wears a Dress. Could you please, Brooke, put it on the screen where we can contact LaShonda to get her books? I was able to hold them in my hands and I purchased one. And I am so sad. I think I got the one about the dress. Justice in the Dress.
Mhm.
What's the title again?
Justice wears a dress, the power of a
Just want
woman's
to make
voice.
sure. Yes. So please go to her website and get the book, and you're gonna really, really be blessed. I am so excited you're with us, LaShonda. Before we leave, though, I want to know what you think you're gonna see yourself doing the next 5 to 7 years from now.
In the next 5 to 7 years, I will be focused more on training, just training other professional social workers
Mhm.
and people in the helping field, because I'm noticing that a lot of helpers, right, those in the helping field, don't have a safe place that they can go to. And so really providing more training and traveling to do that. I believe that, my behavioral health is kind of, I just started it this year. And so making sure that that's running and flowing well. But yeah, I'll be doing more traveling and training for professional helpers.
Well, LaShonda, can you talk to them a little bit about what you talked to me last weekend about trauma? Because you're a specialist in trauma therapy. And it was two of those things, two of the programs, not two of the things that you do to help your clients bounce back from trauma and and disappointments in life. Can you share a little bit of both of those therapies that you do that you
Yes.
your patients, and they were able to get healed and bounce back? So you don't have to always take pills out there. Those of you that are in the audience, I'm not knocking pills. That's what your doctor asks you to do or tell you to do. Please do that. But it is ways that you can get totally free from the bondage and the depression and all the things that you're experiencing and the trauma that you experience not only as a young child, but even maybe now as an adult. So I'm just going to leave the floor to LaShonda so she can talk to us a little bit more about the therapy and treatments that she do at her clinic.
Yeah, and so one of the techniques that I use, I'm certified in what we call EMDR, and EMDR is eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. That's a therapeutic technique that we use to assist with trauma. What people don't realize is that trauma gets stored in our brain, which causes us to be startled. That's where we get that fight, flight, or freeze from. And so just say if you experience molestation, or if you watched your mom being abused or some type of violence when you were younger, and it creates this fear, right? This feeling of I'm not safe. Well, that gets stored in a part of our brain. And so when we're going through life and different things are happening, and just say someone walks up behind you, or somebody that you're in a relationship with walks up behind you and touch you or something, and you find yourself jumping, that's stored trauma, in the brain. So what we do, I use tappers, what we call tappers. So if you're in my office, I'll hand you tappers, and it creates the bilateral stimulants in the brain. And so I will have you go back to your earliest memory of feeling unsafe or feeling like it was your fault. So first I have you identify a negative cognition that you may have, even if you know it's not true, right? So we may know that it's not true, that it's my fault, but yet I was always blamed for stuff as a child. And so now when I'm going through life, then I was blamed when I was in high school, or I was blamed when I, got the breakup or I lost the job. And so when I do it on a virtual level, I use the screen, and I will literally use my hand, and I will have you follow my hand. And what you would do, your eyes would just go back and forth, left, right. And you will be thinking, though, about that traumatic experience. You'll be thinking about the traumatic experience. And what it's doing with that left, right movement is actually causing your brain to experience what you experience a little differently.
So in other words, it's like flashbacks. You get your memory just goes back to where that trauma first started, and it's inside of you, and that's where the fear comes from too. Even when I'm doing therapy with a lot of the ladies that I've done over the years, they have a spirit of fear all the time, about fear of losing their jobs, fear of losing their house, fear of losing their children, fear of losing themselves, fear of finances, just always just fear, and then they start having anxiety because that pent up, like you said, trauma is inside of them. So when you do that eye movement, it kind of flashes back. Is that what you're trying to explain to me?
Well, not necessarily flashes back. So watch this. Oftentimes we like to repress. So this is what I'm finding. When we go through things, a lot of people think, well, that was just in the past. Well, here's the deal. It's not past if it's still affecting you, right?
Okay.
And it doesn't have to
say that again. If it's not,
it's not in the past if it's still affecting
happening right now. Did y'all hear that? It's not in the past if it's still happening right now. That means you haven't got delivered.
It's still affecting you, right?
Still
and so sometimes our people, right? And I say our people, as in Black people, we have been trained to take a licking and keep on ticking, right? Where we get abused, we experience all this stuff from slavery. We get abused, we experience this stuff, and we're supposed to just keep going, right? And so this right here, watch this. I did one with a young lady who didn't realize until after we did this process why she doesn't like figurines. And the memory that she had that came up was when she was younger, her mom, something happened and her mom took this figurine from her and threw it. Right. And that was traumatic for her. So when we're talking about traumatic stress, it doesn't have to be rape, sexual abuse, or anything. It can just be anything that when you think about it now, it creates this disturbance, right? Within you. So what the eye movement does, it creates the bilateral stimulus in the brain. The reason why I have you thinking about what you're experiencing, because we have to be able to look at it. So the brain can be able to process it differently.
Okay.
Right? Because a lot of times, even at 20, so watch this. You have a 3-year-old who may have a tantrum, right? And may be crying, or a 5-year-old. We understand that. It's like, okay, you 3, you 5, you don't understand why you can't get that out the store.
Right.
When you 23, when you 43 and you having a tantrum, right? We're not understanding that. And so what people don't realize, when persons are in domestic violence or, they're responding from an angry place, I bet I can trace that all the way back to when they was 4, 5. And, we have memory even in utero, and people don't even realize that. Like, you can have anxiety if when your mom was pregnant with you, she was going through some type of,
trauma,
anxious or traumatic things, and that can affect.
Yep. Thank you so much. That is just amazing. So I love the part where you say, if you still feeling it, it ain't in the past. I hope y'all got that, because we're still holding on to stuff from the past and we keep going back to the same thing. That means you never got free from, you never got delivered, and you need the help. You need the help that you go to somebody, get some help, and start healing. All right.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yes.
Well,
And I would like to share one more thing for those
okay.
who may be interested in learning more about the EMDR. Now, I also do a show entitled Stories of Heroes, and that airs on Facebook and YouTube on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And next week, Tuesday, I will actually have another therapist who's certified in EMDR who would actually be talking more in depth about that particular therapeutic process.
Okay, well, where can we find you on Facebook and Instagram?
She had it down scrolling at the bottom, so it's Lashana Townsend, Alfred on Facebook, and it's Lashana Alfred on YouTube. And they can even go in and see like previous episodes. I just had a young lady on Tuesday, Tuesday this week, who lost her husband last year to a rare form of cancer. And she talks about how, traumatic that was for her and all of that. So Stories of Heroes is a platform that I created to help everyday individuals who have overcome some things to be able to share their story.
Well, thank you so much, LaShonda. You have been an outstanding guest. And I hope to have you back again, because I'm getting a lot of feedback on the feeds right now of this awesome interview that we had tonight. And thank you so much again. I know you're a busy woman, and we appreciate you being here. Yes. So, all right, you guys, before you leave, I do have the wisdom tips for this week. So let us go ahead and share those wisdom tips that I often give you every week. Okay, we're talking about the ugly spirit of jealousy. So the first tip is acknowledge and openly talk about jealousy. Talk about it, whether you're the person that's jealous or that somebody is being jealous of you. If you notice jealousy feelings, talk about it. It might be a time for you to have a candid conversation if possible. Communication is the key. Don't hold on to it. LaShonda told us a lot of things we're still holding on to. And if you're still holding on to them, you ain't got free from them. In many instances, jealousy is an internal battle. So do some introspection, okay? Then share what you have discovered with somebody that you trust and be truthful about how you can feel or how you feel and what you are comfortable with and learn how to create boundaries, okay? So tip number one, acknowledge and openly talk about jealousy. Got that? Okay, wisdom tip number two, recognize that jealousy is usually a sign of insecurity. We talked about that earlier if you missed it. Jealousy is something we all feel at one point or another in our personal lives, feeling threatened by someone else or somebody done something to us. They don't treat us fairly. However, jealousy can turn into some kind of destructive force. We talked about that in the beginning. Okay, if you're not careful, you'll be wanting to control the issue or control the person. Recognizing that jealousy is usually a sign of insecurity, we can help ourselves by once we realizing it, then be mindful of what we're doing and what we're saying and what we're thinking. Tip number three, work on managing your emotions. Work on managing your emotions. You can experience jealousy a lot in many different forms, but acknowledge it, even when it's uncomfortable, and ask for appropriate support without immediately misbehaving in any way or acting unseemly. You can grow and manage your emotions by learning how to recognize what you're feeling. I'm going back to that again. Acknowledge it. You have experienced it. Yes, go ahead and tolerate it. And if it's in the inside of you and you feeling it, get it out. Talk about it, like we said. Acknowledge it to yourself. Now, sometimes you don't even have to acknowledge somebody, just acknowledge it to yourself, what you're doing. And number four, consider the big picture. Jealousy sometimes develops in response to partial pictures or words. You might be comparing yourself to a friend or somebody else that you want to be like. And then if you're feeling that way, then you should let it go because you are fearfully and wonderfully made. You don't have to be like somebody else. Tip number five, practice gratitude for what you already have. We talked about that last week, the importance of practicing gratitude to God, because if he made us fearfully and wonderfully made, why would you want to be somebody else, right? Why would you want to be somebody else? It's like slapping God in the face. It's like saying, you didn't make me good enough. I want to be like somebody else. So a little gratitude goes a long way. It can not only reduce the feeling of jealousy, but it can also relieve stress. You might not have everything you want. Most of us don't. But you probably have at least some of what you want. Maybe you even have some good things in life and some bad things in life, but we still can thank God that we're here today on and able to breathe and see the sunshine and eat and enjoy our life. So in my closing, I just want you to say again, like we often say, we ain't got no time for tears and fears. Why? Because wisdom is the principal thing, and all that getting and get an understanding so you can live a victorious life, okay? And go on out there and live a
so excited. I have with me a very special guest. My very special guest that I have with me today is another one of the co-founders or a partner that I'm working with this magazine, and his name is Mr. Jamal Williams.
Good morning.
Guys, right? If you don't know him, y'all need to go find out.
And she made me sound cool. You know,
No, for real. Like I see so much greatness, even with the little that you say. You get what I'm saying? Like you're very humble. That's one of the words that Crystal Josiah always say about you. You know, she's the one who introduced us, and you're very humble. But even through your humbleness, I can see.
Yeah.
You know, and so you have so many great things to offer. You're going to do so many great things. But when you're able to see it without you speaking, like that part, you know what I'm saying? Like I can see that. So I want to share. I tell people all the time, like when there's gems out there, gems never get their shine by being dull. They never get their shine by being hidden. They get their shine by being exposed. Like we have to recognize gems, right? So you are a gem to me. You know what I'm saying? To me, I see you as a gem. I see you as somebody that should be exposed, that people should be watching for. You know, you are doing so many amazing things when it comes to your craft, and I want you to go ahead and introduce yourself so we can get more into who you are.
Okay.
Speak a little bit loud so we can hear you a little bit.
Bet. Let me scoot a little closer then. Okay, so my name is Jamal Williams, and I am a writer. I like just saying writer because I really like to do everything that kind of falls under that umbrella. Exclusively like filmmaking, screenwriting, things like that. Like I want to be in the space to create my own films and write films. So that's like ultimately what I do. And kind of pull back, like I just write, like, you know, any aspect of writing, like poetry, technical writing, not grant writing, not lie, but just writing, you know, like blogging, anything. Like I like to really, really write. And linking up with Shayna and this idea about the Generational Wealth magazine, it was so like it just kind of went hand in hand about what I stand for, and kind of it was another opportunity to write. So in a different market. So like I said, I love to write. I want to be able to perfect this craft, like really dive in it and become like everything about it. So it was an opportunity to write. And I was like that. Plus the person, like writing for a cause and like something that I really think should be kind of highlighted, like generational wealth. It needs to be highlighted. We need to see the path people are taking to accumulate these things and mimic it, because that's what it's supposed to be. Like that's the best. I don't know. That's the blueprint. So having this opportunity to assist with that, like I'm very, very excited because this is big.
I agree. I thank you so much that you even, you know, jumped on it. Like you were like, oh yeah, generational wealth. What we need to do. Oh yeah, righty. I'm there. Like I'm so grateful for that. I'm so grateful that you know, took the call to do that. I see that you are doing a lot in writing yourself with dealing with film, the film industry. And one of the things that we connect on is dealing with film and movies. You know, we be laughing on the phone sometimes, talking, giving our thumbs up or thumbs down about certain movies. And we like, you know, because you are a director, you're a movie director.
Yeah.
And you're actually, how old are you?
I'm 28. I'll be turning 29 in like 2 weeks. So.
Wait a minute. First of all, 28.
Wait. Yeah. I'm 28. Well, 29. I'm really just 29. I'm gonna start saying that because my birthday is January 21st. If you want, anybody want to do something cool.
28, 29. Listen to what I'm saying. 28, 29, and you're already making movies, Jamal. You already making movies. You're already walking into purpose. You're already perfecting your craft. You're already doing this. At 28, 29, a lot of us are not doing that. A lot of us are not there. We're not in the thought process of who we are as of yet. So I just want to say, like, that's kudos to you. You get what I'm saying? Like, those are kudos to you, and you take that with a badge of honor, because
you're making movies. You're making movies. People, you are being seen on different measures, different links everywhere. So as far as your movie goes, that's where you are because you're
Right.
in that movie.
No, I ain't gonna hold you. I can't take the credit for it. Like that's only God. Like to really, like just to be, to like you said, to pray about your purpose and like kind of have the clarity about your purpose. Like that's only God. And it's like I feel like maybe, to be honest with you, maybe last year was the first year that I was comfortable saying like, all right, I'm an artist. Like I'm a creative type. I'm a writer. And it was like that was like, yeah, it's like the 28th year of my life. That was the first time, like January, February. So in that, it was like a coming out party for me, like the rest of the year. And now it's just like I want to really be in the world that I stay. It's like, I mean, we kind of were talking about it. I'm not really big on words. Like I'm a writer, but I'm not big on words. That's crazy. But like I wanna live and show people through action. So that's like my biggest thing.
Did y'all hear? I just want to know. Did y'all hear what he said? Like, that's so powerful from a 28-year-old. He said, I want to live. He said, not talk about it. He said, I want to put it through action.
Yeah.
I love that because what people don't realize is that we're not supposed to just know it, have knowledge of it. We're not supposed to just speak it. We're supposed to have action with it because it all intertwines. And I love that. I love that you can put that through a movie so we can see a different perspective. So what happens is we all know when we go to school, we go to college or we go to school, they talk about how we are different learners. We have the auditory learner, we have the visual learner, and we also have the kinetic learner, right? Kinesthetic, where they actually everything is hands-on. So you're able to give your information and pour your soul into a movie for that visual learner. Because everybody does not learn the same. And that's the amazing part of it. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, like you're connecting with them. And then for you to even, and I know you like to be in the back, don't get me wrong. But there's gonna probably come a time when you're gonna have to come to the front.
Right.
And you're gonna have to help other young men like yourself who didn't know how to express themselves. Where you found art, they might find something else. But it's not about that. It's just about the fact that you honed in on your craft and you put your foot forward, even though I'm different. Even though, this is who I am. And they need to see that. They need to see that.
And they're gonna catch up. Like everybody else is gonna catch up. Like it don't matter what they don't matter. But they're gonna catch up.
Remember we had this conversation earlier before we started filming or recording. We had a conversation about Pac, right? And I said the other day I felt like Pac. I get it now.
Yeah.
I get it that he was so far ahead of us. We didn't understand where he was because we weren't experiencing it. But then it took for him to have to leave for us to get it. And I'm not saying that that's you. But what I'm saying is that you are the Pac.
Chill out, little Pac. Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For your generation. You get what I'm saying? So you're 28 years old. Again, we weren't thinking like you thinking right now. We weren't mentally, not everybody was mentally where you are. So that is power within itself.
Thank you. For real. And I'm just not like, I'm not gonna say understanding that, but like really realizing certain things about that. Like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So even though it gets lonely sometimes because we feel like don't nobody else get it, this was just your assignment. This was a part of your purpose. This was a part of your assignment. So even if they don't get it today, or even if they don't watch this movie today, this might be the beginning, right? It was one of your first movies. They're gonna come back to this. They're gonna come back to this recording right here because we changing history. They're gonna come back to that very first one you did when you was like, look, I was making this with my cell phone. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you are creating history. I just want to say, like, kudos to you again with that, creating history.
Thank you.
what made you? Okay, let me ask you this: what is your favorite movie? Give me some of your favorite movies.
Okay, some of my favorite. That's a better question. All right,
Yeah, I know because it's so broad.
Friday for sure. On some
Friday.
random stuff. I love Friday. Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction for sure. True Romance. Definitely.
True Romance.
True Romance. I love True Romance.
Okay.
It had a weird effect on me. Like I didn't think that I was gonna like really connect with it like the way I did. And let me give you like some more to be well rounded. I'm gonna try to not do another Quentin movie because I really like Quentin. Goodfellas because I'm a low key I'm a low key gangster in my head.
Okay.
And one more probably Pineapple Express because I'm like that's like a real good description of like me. I feel like those movies.
I'm definitely gonna have to see Pineapple Express because I heard so much about it and I never watched it.
Different.
I never watched it. Oh my God. So it's so funny when I ask you those things, it's like, okay, I understand Pulp Fiction because it was so much deeper than what it was.
Right.
And some of the and a lot of movies you said, and then with Goodfellas, okay. So then I had to go in my head and be like, what are some of my favorite movies? Because I have so many, right? But as you were saying it, I was thinking of other movies. One of my favorite movies was Casino. I used to watch
Casino, yeah. Robert De Niro.
over and over again. One of my favorite movies used to be Friday Part 3, you know, and it was because Cat Williams was in there. He always got something to say. And he kind of like gave a different spin to just living in the hood and what goes on in the hood.
Yeah, you're right.
Tucker, you know, I like Chris Tucker, don't get me wrong, because he set the tone with Friday Part 1. He set the tone. But when he came back in with different comedians, it kind of like changed it up a bit.
Cause that's the hood. The hood. Like it's wild in the hood. It's random in the hood. You never know. And like yeah, that's why I really kind of respected Ice Cube on that. And especially when you got to watch Straight Outta Compton when you seen he was writing Friday at that point in his life, and it was just like, all right, it was like that was a little moment for me. Like, all right, just stay the course. You know, keep working. You never know when it's gonna like how it happens.
Stay the course, keep working. I like that. So
Right.
yeah, that is definitely one of them. Now, what is your next project? What project are you working on right now that people need to watch?
Okay. So I'm a part of this group. Well, I work for the SGA TV network right here in Houston, Texas, right? And we have this event called the Cinematic Affair that we started last summer, which is pretty much 3 different filmmakers working on each other's films, collaborating to give you one night of just film, like every film. So we did it last year. It was cool. We did it big. I'm not gonna lie, we didn't do it big. We did it big last year. But now it's like, hey, that was cool. But now we trying to like really, we know what it could be. So everybody's locked in. Malcolm and Jacoby, Miss Sonia, Miss Marietta, like those are all the people at SGA. And all that to say that we getting ready to bring y'all some heat this summer. And me personally, my film, I can give you a little bit. So I'm doing a pilot. I'm giving you the pilot episode of a series that I'm writing called Soulmates. And I'll give you it's just pretty much the journey of soulmates, but in a perspective, in a way, like the way I'm gonna present it, you've never seen. But at the same time, we all lived it. So like that's soulmates. And that'll be coming to you this July.
Oh my God. So you guys have this event called the Cinematic Affair where a lot of independent authors or film directors come together and they pull their movies together and we watch pilots of them all night.
So it's like, well, how we did it is me, Malcolm, and Jacoby. Like we came in and we was like, because it's as an independent filmmaker, like the number one thing you run across is independent. So we wanted to like really remove that whole stigma and show people that you can collaborate. And once you do that, like the end product will be amazing. So like put it like this, Malcolm went first, because I think we filmed all 3 films in a 3-week time span. Malcolm went first, shot by Q. Every film was shot by Q Shot You. And while Malcolm was filming, like he was the director, of course. Jacoby was like whatever he needed her. She was the actress, actually. And I was like, the script supervisor, but like we do whatever it takes on each other's films, and the roles always adjust. So when we go to Jacoby film, everybody got different roles, but the bond still the same. Then we come to my film, it's like everybody got different roles, but the grind is still the same.
So you mean to tell me you guys are collaborating together?
Thanks.
Collaborating together, and y'all are in each other's film in different ways.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Wait. That's collaboration
For real though. No egos involved. No
egos. Did y'all hear that? What?
Yeah.
I said it. It's some men out here that don't have egos and they okay with working with us.
For real. I definitely consider. I definitely have an ego, but it doesn't. It's not controlling. I'll say
It's
that.
not controlling, right? You get what I'm saying? So so this is gonna be in Houston. This is gonna be in Houston, Texas. That's where you are. What's the date? Do you have a date on that?
July 16th, 2022. But we are gonna do a whole weekend of events. Like it's something that's gonna be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We're gonna really try to like give y'all an experience. And more information on that is going to be readily available as we like really get it going. But I will say that get your tickets early. We sold out early last year.
Y'all heard it. Okay, y'all heard it here first. Look, you guys are getting an exclusive. This is for the Generational Wealth magazine. We're here. We're talking to Mr. Jamal Williams, the director of Sixth Street Productions. He's the director of Sixth Street Productions is his company. And he makes movies. He's the director of movies. You guys, he's only 28 years old. He has this like, oh my God, he's walking in purpose already. And he just told you guys he's making a part. He has a cinematic affair that's coming up July the 16th, 2022. We all need to be in Houston.
All y'all pull up, man.
Need to be in Houston.
Pull up.
For real, for this affair. Get the tickets early. He said, get your tickets early. Where they're going to have different directors, independent filmmakers in each other's films and showing pilots from those different shows.
And it's also just like networking too, because it's like people who want to like get in and don't know how, which was me. Like I moved to Houston 2 years ago and I didn't know how to like get in. But I was just blessed to have the opportunity to work as an intern with First One Media Group and Miss Sonia and Malcolm, and they kind of like really took me under their wing. It was like, all right, I see you gonna grind. Well, you can grind with us, and that's really how it took off.
That's powerful. That's powerful right there. But they saw something in you that was just like them, and they said, "Hey, I'm not gonna hate against it, bro. You cold, but look, we could be cold together." You know what I'm saying?
What we do now?
Just pull it together. Like that's the time that I feel like that we're in as a people. Like we need to start realizing, that's not competition. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can work together, and even if they go further than me, I'm still a part of that connect. You know what I'm saying? So that don't mean that should be influencing me and inspiring me to get there as well.
And that's exactly what it does.
And if I have the opportunity to pull you along because you just as dope or just as cold as me, I'm coming to get you. You know what I'm saying? So I love that. I love that aspect of it. I'm so grateful for you. Your experience, who you are. Like, I love the conversations that we have because they just
definitely.
Yeah. Even today when you talked before this and you were talking about how you're different from everybody else. And so what you do is your form of expression is through this movie, it's through movie. You hone in on your craft and you put all of you in the movie.
Yeah, every aspect, like from the script to filming, like you gotta be vulnerable and just really let yourself go and fall in love with the process and just be in it. And that's what this is my second project that I'm working on now. I've written a few, but this will be the second one that I've written to be filmed. So it's like, I don't know, I'm in love with like what it takes to be great at it, I guess. And I just want to keep trying to figure out different ways to do that and go at that. And that's what this is now. Like I'm coming a little different than the way I did the first time with the first film. So it's like, okay, let me see how that looks in the end. And that's really what I'm doing now. Just enjoying the process.
Wow. You said, okay, some of the things you said you're being vulnerable.
Facts.
You have to be vulnerable and releasing it and just doing it. That's a big one. And then putting your all and even changing up to see how great it can become. That means that I'm not staying the same. You know, we climb the ladder not to stay on the same level, but we climb the ladder to be higher than what we were before. Did y'all hear that? Like basically that's what you said. So that right there is powerful within itself, and I'm willing to step outside the box or a little to the left or to the right to make sure that I can get there. You know what I'm saying? So that's real. That's facts. That's real. So I just want to say like, oh my God, like again, I'm so caught up on the fact that you're 28 years old.
Really? That made me feel cool.
Yeah, you're already walking in purpose. You're already doing what it is that you set out to do. Where a lot of people aren't there at 28. It put out last night. I just want to say congrats. A couple of on New Year's Day. I think it was on New Year's Day that you're gonna be a dad again.
Oh yeah, daddy
you're gonna
times
have your
two.
first son. I just want to say congratulations on that. You know, congratulations on getting there. You know, to have that son because it's so much that you're gonna be able to offer him and what you do.
Thanks.
And you know what I'm saying? And not only are you gonna be offering him what you're doing, he's gonna see it in action.
Thanks. And that's really what got me going in the first place, to be real. Like my daughter, just knowing that she's here and it's like that I gotta be what you need. And it's like, so that's what this whole like this that's where the journey kind of began for me, just trying to become what she needed. And that's still what I'm after and what I'm doing. Like I need to become what she needs. So that's what I'm after, really, in the grand scheme of things. Like I told you, I like to simplify, and like in me trying to figure out how I can become what she needs, it's like that I got to be doing something that I love. I know how I am, and from that point, it's just been a discovery journey, and just walking into the purpose, like you said, and that it hasn't been easy though at all, like because it's like it's a lot when you ask for your purpose. Like it's a lot that comes with it because you get tested. I don't want to say tested, but like is this something you really, really want? You gotta prove it. And I told you I love action. So it became a thing to me where I would just like I hate to like be like telling somebody what I'm gonna do, and like I don't mind, expressing the future like plans, but it's like I'd rather just get dirty and show you out like that I'm in the mud and I'm gonna get it. And I'd rather just do that than say anything. You see it.
It's so funny because I think a lot more of us need to be like that. You know, like I've always been a person that talk a lot, and I've been expressive. I've been like that since I was a kid. No, I'm lying. I wasn't like that as a kid because I didn't have a voice. My voice was taken away. So then when I was able to talk, to realize I had a voice, I haven't got quiet since. Like, unless God bring me to a place of being quiet. You know? So every now and then I pull back and I had to go into my quiet place. So I'm learning how to be an introvert and an extrovert. So
and I'm learning how to do the opposite, be more outwardly expressive.
Right.
Because it's like I can be, I'm cool with, just being chill behind the scenes, little writer mom. It's like I feel the push of like the second half of life, not the second half of life, but I just feel the push that something's gonna be kind of different, and it's not gonna be what I think. In that aspect.
I get it. Look, I'm like, I get it because sometimes God pushes you to those uncomfortable spaces.
Right.
You know, where he wants to go as opposed to what we intended for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So it all just lines up, so I get it. When I say I get it, I get it. For a long time I've been a public speaker since I was a kid. So for a long time I should have perfected this by now.
Right.
Where I'm definitely great at speaking. I'm definitely great at communicating. But it's other things that I needed to learn more of, and mine was listening. So now I'm a better listener.
That's heavy though, because people don't get that. Like people don't get that. And as somebody who don't really talk that much, I'm a great listener. So it's like you see the benefit of people having that and wanting that. 'Cause everybody wants to be, heard.
And realize that, yeah. And then I had
Yeah.
to realize too, when I get in every room, I mean, I have to say something.
Yeah.
Still working on it. Like, I don't always have to have something to say. Or, just being quiet.
Because you see so much from being quiet. People gonna like really, they can't hide. You can't hide when I'm just looking and not doing anything else. You can't really hide because eventually you're gonna be yourself.
Yeah, I learned so much in those times. Like, I do photography on the side. I went to an event, and I was a photographer, and I took pictures and I heard everything and heard conversations. I saw people. I saw who they were. I saw if they opened up the door for me. I saw if they treated me like I was a servant. I saw if they treated me like I was a person. I felt people's energy, everything. And then when I took off the photography, the camera, and I put on the same shirt they had, and I jumped in the pictures.
It'd be a little different. It'd be a little different. That's why you gotta everybody gotta get the same. Like that's what I'm so big on.
It was like they didn't know who I was. I'm rocking with I'm working with the person that is one of the founders of this organization, so that's one of my best friends. Now you trying to figure out who I am. No, don't
you trying to think about what you said. Like, what did I say?
Like, wait a minute. Who is that? Don't treat me like this now when you weren't treating me like that then.
Right.
Like that right there, I think everybody needs to experience that.
Yeah, that's why you gotta show love and just keep it. It's like if you're around me, it's gonna be love. It's gonna be all love and it's gonna be all the time. Like I can't help it be like me. Because anything else is hard. It's hard to be not me. So why would I'm gonna just do it easy.
I love it. I love it. Well, I just want to say thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time out to talk to us this morning.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, what?
Fred, no, thank you for the opportunity. You already know it's whatever.
I'm just excited, like you excited. Like let's get it popping. Like
let's
get this generational wealth, magazine started where we're actually educating people and showing them generational wealth on different levels. What I love about our connection, and then we're gonna end it after this. What I love about our connection is that I come from a different generation, and my generation, I'm like, oh, we want to learn about long honey. People who had their farm for 7 generations, or people who have stories that generations old, or people who have things that they should pass down, or it may be history, or it may be like what we're going through right now. But no, we can talk about the 20s. And people who are striving right now, they becoming new money. They being successful right now. And what I'm saying, with different problems and different things that people need to see how they're getting. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, like that's what we want to see.
Yeah, that's the positive. That's what I love about our connection. Like we can bring different aspects of it.
Different sides of the same coin.
Yeah, we create history right now because how many people of different generations work together, or how many people out there just want to work with somebody that's a part of their tribe?
Right, and truly collaborate though, and it be like
truly collaborate.
Yeah.
You're right. I learn more from people that's not like me. I
Hey,
keep saying it.
hey.
Like that's the only way that I'm gonna grow. I'm not gonna grow hanging around the same people, giving the same answers and the same
Nah.
Right. So I just want to say, thank you so much for being a part of the Generational Wealth magazine. Thank you for telling us more about yourself. And I can't wait. All I can say is 2022.
Me either. Well, you already know.
Yeah.
July 16th.
Is there any way that people can reach out to you, connect with your movies, or find out more about you?
For sure. On the SGA TV network, Google that SGA TV network. That's where you can find my film, Malcolm's film, and Chicago's film, and just more information about SGA in general. Because SGA got a lot coming. I ain't even gonna get y'all that because I might get in trouble. But yeah, just be on the lookout. For real. And me personally, you can find me on Instagram at 6, the number 6, the letters IX, th_street. 6th Street is my Instagram, and anything else, Jamal Williams, Jamal Williams. And you should really be able to find me on, like, just Google that and everything should pop up. I think I'm getting there on that level now. So, but yeah, I'll follow back. I'm not on that. So definitely follow me, partake in this journey. It's gonna be fun.
Awesome. Y'all heard it. So, well, guess what? Let me tell y'all something. I told y'all gems are not to be hidden, they're to be
Nah.
exposed. So this is a gem. Like, be on the lookout for Jamal Williams. Be on the lookout. He said it, Jamal Williams. 6th Street Production. I gotta remember that. 6th Street Production. You want it, the cinematic affair is gonna be July the 16th. He said, get your tickets now. It's gonna
Nah,
be
for
in
real.
Houston. We want to see more cinematic affairs all over.
Oh
Cinematic
yeah.
affair. You know what I'm saying? We want to talk about more about that. Y'all want to find out more about Jamal Williams, about cinematic affairs, about him being a director, and to view his movies and some of his work. Look him up. Reach out to him on Facebook. You know, go to his Instagram and
I'm
find.
not bougie. I'm not bougie at all. I'm
He
not.
not busy. When you say he's not busy, that means hit him up.
Yeah. I'm not fake bougie either. You know, I reply, I respond. You know,
Yeah,
I do all that.
look. Guess what, Jamal? They better get you right now.
I mean, you know.
They better get to you right now because you are going to be doing big things, my brother.
Soon, for sure.
Big things. You might have to say, you don't have to hit me on my palm pilot back in the day.
Yeah, hit the
You know
palm
what I'm saying?
pilot.
Leave a message, you know. So I'm telling you guys, this is hot right here. This is definitely history in the making. You saw it right here first. Mr. Jamal Williams, the cinematic affair, 6th Street Production. Hit him up. Get your information now. He's also going to be featured in the Generational Wealth magazine. We're going to do a feature on him, as well as he's going to be a writer in the magazine. So be on the lookout for that. Yep, be on the lookout for that. So I just want to say thank you guys for being here. Thank you for this opportunity. For speaking with you guys, I just wanted to introduce you to the new, the new hottest thing on the block. The hottest thing on the block. You know, Mr. Jamal Williams. I'm so excited. So we're going to let you go. Thank you guys, and you guys have a great day.
We want to give a shout out to our CTR Media Network sponsor, Terry Coleman from GlobalKeyCapital.com. Global Key Capital is a lender specialized in customized financing solutions. They pride themselves in being one of the industry's most reliable and proven lending groups. At Global Key Capital, their customers are their number one priority, and they strive to provide all of their clients with competitive pricing, unbeatable customer service, and stress-free processing. If you are looking for your next dream home or investment property, give Terry Coleman a call at 866-325-6267. Again, that number is 866-325-6267. GlobalKeyCapital.com.
Thank you so much, CTR Media Network, Dr. Tina Ramsay, along with the staff of CTR Media Network and all of the podcasters that have programs featured on CTR Media Network. I'm Kim Jacobs, the host of The Kim Jacobs Show, and we're bringing balance to the world one household at a time. It is such an honor and a privilege to be able to be associated with Dr. Tina Ramsay and her program with CTR Media Network. They go over and beyond the call of duty and do exceptionally well when it comes to the podcasters. I'm saying things that are like, ooh, mind-blowing. They are exceeding our expectations, and I cannot be more grateful and more thankful. So I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you for all of your professionalism, your consideration, going the extra mile to make sure that your podcasters have what we need to be able to have a thriving program and to get exposed to over 350 million households, 46 countries. I am excited to be a
Hello, everybody. I am Dr. Tina J. Ramsay, and I want to share with you about CTR Media Network. Have you heard? CTR Media Network is a new standard of podcasting with over 30 plus podcasters. We reach 350 million global listeners worldwide in over 50 plus countries across all major podcasting and social media platforms. We have featured over 1,000 guests. What we specialize in is helping business owners, entrepreneurs, coaches, and fellow podcasters expand their visibility on our platform. We're all about positioning with visibility, connections, and teaching you how to monetize what you do. Let me tell you something. If you're a business owner, we have sponsorships opportunities. We have commercial slots. We also have opportunities for you to be a featured guest on any of our shows. So what are you waiting for? CTR Media Network is who we are, and this is where you need to be. So go to ctrmedianetwork.com and click our store feature so that you can see which opportunity fits your life and your budget so that we can get started working with you today.
What up, family? CTR Media Network. Yeah. Best in the biz. Yeah. Join the team. CTR is who we are, the media network, that's the best by far. Whether you listen at your home, at your job, in your car, come get the information that's needed above par, never lasting. Motivational podcasting, giving you the answers to the questions that you're asking. Serious talks and topics, how to come up and profit, how to better yourself, your health and tip. We got it, reaching 350 million, they tuning in. We in 50 different countries, we all can. And like minded, find your purpose and your assignment. Come get your fix, your feel, your mental alignment. Get active and speak to the masses. Build your influence all levels and all classes. Now you know you can monetize and grow. CTR Media Network, start the show.
Hello, everybody. I am Dr. Tina J. Ramsay, the host of the Tina Ramsay Show and Podcast, and I want to personally invite you to be a featured guest on our show. Our show is all about motivating you, sharing knowledge, having uplifting conversations centered around business, wellness, education, and life. We introduce you to some of the most amazing standout entrepreneurs and influencers that are truly making a positive impact in the world. It is your time to shine, and we are helping you do that. So what I want you to do is just click the link in the description below so that you can be a featured guest on our show. Because guess what? It's time for you to come share, shine, and grow on the Tina Ramsay Show.
Are you still running the beer? Oh, okay. Hello. I am so excited. We are at the Authors All-Star Conference. Yay. And I am so excited because we will be interviewing authors. And I have my first one here. And she's not only an author, but she is going to be one of our podcasters. Yay! I'm so excited. I have with me today Miss LaShawn Carter. How are you today?
I am fabulous. Thank you for having me.
You are beautiful. And I am so excited to be able to talk to you today. Because you've got a lot going on.
Girl, tell me about it.
I mean, a lot going on. So what I want you to do is introduce yourself to our audience and tell them a little bit about you. And then we're going to take it from there.
All right. Hey, everyone. My name is LaShawn Carter. I am the proud owner of the Education Station in Chattanooga, Tennessee, where we sell educational material and affordable material at that. I'm also the proud owner of Tiny Tigers Learning Center, the #1 child care in Chattanooga, Tennessee. So I am just excited to be here at the All-Star Authors event. Yes. And I am a best-selling author. Woo, 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 woo. Yes. So I collaborated with a bunch of other successful childcare owners to jumpstart your childcare and get to them millions, baby. So get that book, go to Amazon and purchase your copy today.
That is awesome. And you know, childcare is so important. and parents being involved in their children's lives, particularly at that age. That is so important. And we're going to talk a little more about that. So you have education. Tell us about it.
So the education station was actually formed with my daughter and my great niece. They was playing in my living room with some arts and crafts, and I was during the pandemic, and I said, you know what can I bring to the community where kids can still learn from their home? Because at that time, schools was shut down. So I still want to bring a valuable education, but making it fun. No more workbooks, no more sitting there doing worksheets. I like doing stuff with hands-on activities. I like to get messy, y'all. So I was like, my daughter was like cooking activities, science activities, social studies, because they took social studies from us, but they ain't taking it from us. We got it right now at the education station. Well, we teach the kids how, what is Utah? What is the 45th state? Yes, you got your box. You got your box. She got our box. She got our box. So we teach you cooking activities, math skills. We also work on hand-eye coordination, everything inside the curriculum kit box. So the education station, I always tell people, what pandemic? Because that was a blessing. I woke up to another stream of income.
That is awesome. So how can people get the education station?
So you can purchase one of the suitcases. We will have our suitcases here tomorrow. Yes, so you can purchase it right here tomorrow. But you can also go to letsgoexpress.org and click on suitcase, okay? And the box will pop up with tons of activity. We got over right now, I think we got 15 new boxes? Yes, you heard me, 15 new boxes.
Oh, that is so awesome. And I can just imagine that relieves some of the pressure from parents being able to give their children activities that they can engage in, and not only engage, but learn
and have fun.
And
be messy.
And be messy. Okay.
I threw off, y'all. I'm sorry. Look. I do that to people. I'm so sorry.
We just having some fun.
We are.
When you say messy, I guess with me, messy,
let's get messy.
Get messy. Okay.
Yes, so we do cooking activities. So with the cooking activities, like right now in the curriculum box, we baking gingerbread cookies. Y'all, I have not mastered yet how to make gingerbread cookies. So I am horrible with it. And my mama's a baker. So I feel some type of way because I went in the same line as she was. Because how come I don't know how to make gingerbread cookies? So we're gonna do a podcast about how to make these gingerbread cookies, and they're gonna do it with me live.
That's awesome.
We're gonna master
maybe
that.
I need to watch that podcast.
Maybe so. We're gonna have to figure that out.
Okay, we're gonna have to figure it out. Hand me your book. Let me see this book. Now, this book, Jumpstart Your Child Care Success. Tell us more about this book.
So everybody had a comfort. I can't even talk. Everyone had a piece inside this book. My piece was talking more about how I got started with marketing. I didn't know I was a marketer. I always said I'm bad at marketing. Can you believe that?
No.
I know, right? So I give you some 7 tips and screens of how to basically attract your parents, how to get their enrollment together. And then the other ladies, they have so many fabulous tips. If you're looking to start a childcare business, this book right here, you pick it up and it's like a workbook. You go right inside, you start reading the chapters and take many, many notes. You opening up your business right with this book. So I was not great at, I talk how I write. So I was like, well, my coach, my child care coach, Dr. Andrea Dickens said, hey girl. So she was like, hey, I want y'all to be in this book. So I was like, I never wrote a book. Nobody in my family wrote a book. So I'm the first author in my family. So I was like, okay, girl, I'm gonna do this. I was like, so what I do, pen and paper? She was like, no, I'm gonna show you. So she showed us how to write this book, and we wrote this book within I want to say that like a week.
Wow.
I kid you not, I feel like it was a week. And my husband, thank God for him, because he had to tolerate me. But I was like, I really wrote a book, and I cried about it, and I dedicated my book to my parents because they really instilled in me the things like education, the value of education, and making sure that you put everything in your all. Nobody's going to hand you anything. You got to work hard for it.
That's true. That's true. Nothing worth having comes easy.
Oh, all things through life. And you do what? We on him, God. Cause I'm for real. Now, I'm for literally. This is not a gimmick. This is not.
No, we're here real.
We're here. Like
we're not playing any games.
But
she's real.
I seriously did not know what I was doing when I got into writing a book. And so I was like, I said, this made me an easy example to write workbooks, kids workbooks, how to start looking at how I can make a stream of income in my sleep. That is my dream. That is my dream, to have 8 streams of income. And I am now on 6 streams of income.
And I need to talk to you.
Okay.
I need to talk to you.
You need to talk to me?
Help me out. Help a sister out.
Okay. We're going to do that.
Yeah.
No, we didn't even know what we was going to talk about today, y'all. So we just, hey, girl, hey.
And if anybody is listening and you have some comments, we do have comments. We got a lot of comments.
Oh, girl, let's see these comments.
Let's see these comments.
Oh, sure, you got it. We got to see these comments.
Yeah, I think I need the mouse. I forgot. I'm trying to. Okay, this is a new computer.
Hey,
Jamie.
Hey, LaShawn. Hey, Miss Barbara. Hey, y'all. Hey.
Hi. I hope you're enjoying this. Yes. Okay. Now. Oh, thank you so much for the water.
They said we thirsty, I guess.
She said we need some water.
We need some water.
There was something. Okay, so you said you have 6 streams of income: the child care, the suitcase.
Then I have an online store.
Oh, okay. Tell us about your store.
So we at the education station, we sell educational workbooks. We have lamination services for you, and we just start offering notary services as well. So she said, hey, girl. So anyway, so we do that. We also have flashcards, back to school items. That's one of my biggest kickoff is back to school. I love sending kids with the workbooks and crayons, markers, things that they need to start off with a good school year. So we do that every June. We do a big old back to school bash right in my neighborhood, right on the property of Tiny Tigers Learning Center, and we donate, we give back.
Oh my goodness. This girl is awesome. And she's a young
She got her
woman.
box today. That's the education dance.
Oh, okay. All right.
She's not gonna allow me on her show ever again,
Yes,
you guys.
you're
I'm
coming
coming.
back.
I'm coming back. Okay.
You come. But just imagine. Can you imagine what her podcast is going to be like? Can you imagine? You have got to tune in to what is the name of what is your podcast?
The education station.
I can't even talk. Yes, I received my box. Oh, yes, we've got. Yes, I received my box today. I'm so excited. Thank you. And we were reading these, and then we have Alexandria. She says, "Hey,
That's my daycare baby. That's baby daddy mama. Hey." No, that's what we call it.
Oh, okay. And then have fun. Love it. I'm glad you're enjoying this. This is awesome. Okay. And then we have hello from Barbara Holmes.
Yes.
Hello. Thank you. You click. You
want me to click?
Yeah, you click. You're closer. Okay. And
I don't
then
know what she said. Yes. Right. We get podcast training all at once. And good evening.
Jamie
Welcome
Toombs,
live.
Truesdale.
We gotta
Thank
say- we
you.
gotta say welcome live, right?
We are live.
Yeah, we are live.
We are very live. And please like, share, and subscribe. Okay. All right. Like, share, and comment. Yes, please.
What they can do for your education station, what is inside the store, and how do we provide value.
Okay.
And we did talk about that. Look, do it again.
All right. Hey, y'all. So the education station right now, go click on letsgoexpress.org. Inside the letsgoexpress.org website, you will see tons of workbook, educational material from bulletin boards. If you're an educator out there and you love decorating your classroom, we have classroom decorations. We got crayons, markers, pencils. We have planners. If you are a planner, we got teacher planners right now for you to go ahead and start your 2023 out now. Also, our biggest sale going on right now is our vision board party. So right now you can get your tickets for $47 and get your vision board kit shipped out to you this week. Yes.
Oh my goodness. And you know, vision boards work.
Yes, they do.
I don't care what anybody says. They work. If you can see it, you can have it. That reminds me of a poem. So let me